As a native Black American and a proud member of the Muscogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. Help me help you discover your roots with a personalized genealogy consultation. Paper trail genealogy matters. DNA tests can't prove ethnicity or tribal affiliation. You must search through paper records to dive deep into your family heritage. During the meeting, I will teach you how to navigate the genealogy process with ease. You'll learn how to link tribal affiliation with your ancestors, and I'll show you the step-by-step process I went through to gaining tribal citizenship. Take the first step to unlocking your past. To book a consultation, send an email to mike@keymediapro.com.
Who won't smoke with me? Who won't smoke with me? Who won't smoke with me? Nigga, who won't smoke with me? 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 Nigga, who won't smoke with me? Who won't smoke with me? I'm tryna fuck a nigga lungs up. They be like, no, don't put them damn guns up. Fuck that. Say big brother, bring them guns out. When it's smoke, we get the spinning while the sun out. I ain't never lacking, I pump gas with my gun out. Scream out what's happening to get the bus until it run out. All these niggas hiding like what they got, it ain't no fun out. 762 big as hell to knock a nigga lungs out. 1, 2, 3, 4, kick your dope, get on the floor. 5, 6, 7, 8, don't make no noise, I'll eat your face. 9, 10, 11, we ain't gon' say that nigga won't fuck with Jake. I'ma kill 14 niggas if 13 bitch niggas play. I think my Draco might be Jake. Why? Cause he blow niggas. I just got a brand new lolly. That's a faux nigga. Call me an auto yes man. I don't know niggas. You can send your best man, you gon' lose your best hitter. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? That's how I step on niggas. I step on you bitch ass niggas, bro. We step on shit like Craig Daddy, we in a general pet rally. Won't come outside, he scared, probably they deeper than a fucking potty. That don't matter. Why? Cause I'm gon' spray this bitch out of everybody. I'm not a bitch, I do magic. Turn his whip into a bat. Take his life, he shouldn't have had. I'm quit, it's not just like my dad. My Nina Rose, she kinda sassy. Let her go, she let you have it. Play you, let you try, you die. I'm cold as hell, but let off fire. Please don't try, cause you gon' die. And I don't wanna see your mama cry. Who won't smoke with me? Who won't smoke with me? Nigga, who won't smoke with me? 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 Nigga, who won't smoke with me? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? That's how I step on niggas.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me get some fists and feathers in the chat if you can hear me loud, crisp, and clear, and we'll go ahead and get this party started. I had a genealogy consultation earlier today, and this brother wanted me to record the consultation so that he could share it with some family members. Oftentimes, people ask that of me, but the last 30 minutes of our genealogy consultation took an interesting turn. You know, he had some questions about reparations, some questions about sovereignty, some questions about tribal citizenship, or maybe ways to get rectification without involving the United States government. And I thought to myself, this is an interesting discourse. And I've heard a lot from the Moorish sovereign citizen crowds lately. You know, they've been calling in, they've been debating me on these various subjects. So, you know, I asked my client, you know, with his permission, if I could share the last 30 minutes of our consultation with my live viewing audience so we can kind of dissect what's going on here and see what the general consensus is with our audience. But, you know, this consultation, like most of my consultations, lasted like, I don't know, an hour, 40 minutes or so, but it's just the last 30 minutes that we're going to take a look at. I'm about to drop the link, so feel free to click the link and call in, because this is a live debate about whether or not we can obtain reparations without the government's involvement. Hit the like button on the way in, share the video, hit the Cash App or the PayPal if you support the mission, and make sure to book a genealogy consultation if you've yet to do so. The price is going back to the regular rate of $75 this Friday, so make sure to take advantage of the discount while we're still running it. But let's get on with the content, shall we? why you should use Ancestry.com, because after you complete your family tree, you can type in Ancestry American Indian Records. And if you go to their American Indian Records portal, all you've got to do is type in your ancestors' first and last name that's on your family tree, click search, and it's going to search all these databases at once. Okay, Oklahoma records, North Carolina, Minnesota, census, Indian Tory land allotments, applications for enrollment, citizens, treaties, chiefs. So when you talk about different treaties, it's also going to search for all U.S. ratified treaties between 1722 and 1869.
And so, does it filter them based on your, and they filters them based on your search as far as the names that you see?
Yeah, exactly. The first step is doing your family tree. Once you do your family tree, you just put in the first and last name of your ancestor on the tree, and it's going to search all these records at the click of a button.
All right, cool. Now I do know, out of respect for the time, you have to something to do. Yet I appreciate that. I can see that clearly. If you could, a few minutes on the second and third step, what did you perceive those would be?
Yeah, so the second step is linking tribal affiliation, and that's what we're covering right now, right? So after you do your family tree, you do this search right here, and it's going to cross-reference all these different Indian databases. And if your ancestors, had a treaty, had some land allotment, then the records are going to pop up, and that's linking tribal affiliation. Because then you can take that document and you can find a roll number, and you can go to the DAWS roll and you can see them on the DAWS roll. And then once you got that information, now you can apply for citizenship.
Okay, perfect. Now I hear that. Now with that third step, as a federally recognized tribe, that gives you a dependent nation status where you technically don't have sovereignty 100%. Technically, it's always been acknowledged that federally recognized tribes are dependent states. Nevertheless,
specifically, what I refer to it as is a pseudo sovereignty. You're right. It's like kind of a little bit of freedom, but we're basically wards of the federal government.
Now check it out though. And that's only due to the fact that you're allowing them to administer your assets. Literally, it's only due to the fact that we say, okay, those federally recognized tribes say, hey, we want you to administer our assets on behalf of us. And you know what I'm saying? That's trust administration. They're administrators. Now, if you have all this evidence and information, right, of your properties that's yours, everything, and you do not want to establish trusteeship with the United States federal government, yet you do still want to exercise your right of self-determination and your right of nationality with your tribe, yet totally independent of the United States of America, because you existed before them and you see no reason to need them to exist going forward, yet you want this information to be the proper evidence that you need to maybe get an injunctive relief of some sort that makes them not be able to do certain things and have to respect your nationhood status. How do you see that happening? And has that ever happened according to your knowledge?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what you mean. I mean, to apply for citizenship with any tribe, you've got to
not have citizenship, basically.
Okay,
I'm saying
so basically you just know, like, for example, you just know your ancestors were part of the Cherokee Nation, but you don't want to apply for citizenship, right?
For instance, we don't want citizenship, but we want all the benefits, meaning the benefits are naturally ours, they're rights. Yet, so we just don't want to register under one of those federally recognized tribes. We want to say, okay, we a tribe for sure. We the clan of our last name, right? And we definitely got our rules and regulations, how we govern ourselves and all of that. And this is the evidence that we even documented from having historical tribesmanship. Yet at this point, we don't want to be federally awarded. We are going to be sovereign.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be federally recognized, then you won't get any federal benefits.
Exactly. It's just like a citizenship, because I mean, but what is a benefit is a natural right also, though. You know what I'm saying? So
But whether your
we could,
rights are recognized by the government are two different things. I mean, technically, I
well,
should have the right to collect rainwater and hunt and fish without a license and drive without a license and stuff, but that's not the reality. So, you know,
well, this
what
is how it
natural
goes.
God-given law is versus federal law is two different things.
Yeah, so this is all I'm stating. I'm not against that. Some people are down and some tribes are down and willing to accept the responsibility to manage their own affairs 100 and 1,000,000,000%. So saying that a tribe was willing to do that, saying we don't want no benefits. Nevertheless, if there's treaties and there's roles and there's allotments that clearly show that that's our land, we're coming on enforcement like a lawsuit, law claim, like a regular business would do. When they have evidence that that's their property, they want to get all their property, collect all of that, and we don't need your benefits and your oversights. You feel what I'm trying to say? Has that ever happened in your world? And A, and B, if it hasn't happened, do you see the possibility of it? I don't want to know, just the possibility. Do you see that that's something that's a lawful and legal route to take?
Yeah, so it's never happened to my knowledge, and I don't see it ever being a successful approach to take, just because unfortunately, to get any repentance or rectification from the government, you have to play by their rules. So just
Well,
like
this is the thing. This is the thing,
well,
though.
hold on. Don't interrupt. I'm still answering your question, right?
Yeah.
So for example, let's talk about Indian removal, right? You got the Trail of Tears where they were pushing people from Alabama, Mississippi to Oklahoma. Well, if you were a part of a tribe that said, hey, I don't want to go to Oklahoma, then they said, okay, well, you're not recognized. So then what some tribal members did is they went to the government and said, hey, that's fucked up. We should still be recognized. We should still get land since we want to stay here in our land. So they said, okay, you can, due to the Treaty of Rabbit Creek. But that Treaty of Rabbit Creek made them sign up with the government through an application process to get those reparations. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are any of you guys familiar with that treaty that I'm referring to? And I actually misspoke. The treaty is not called Rabbit Creek. It's called the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek in 1830. Put a 1 in the chat if you've never heard of this before. Put a 1 in the chat if you don't know nothing about no Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, and I will enlighten you. But if the audience has already heard about it, then we can just keep on keeping on. I'm just trying to feel the temperature in the room. All right, we do have some people in the house that have not heard of it. So let me give you guys a brief rundown, shall we? The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek was in 1830. And this had a huge impact on my tribe, the Muscogee Creek Nation, as well as other tribes in the Mississippi, Alabama area, East Coast, down south, etc. It was signed September 27th, 1830. And it was part of the U.S. Indian removal policy, which aimed to relocate southeastern tribes to lands west of the Mississippi River. It outlined several terms. One of the major terms was land secession. The Choctaw Nation, for example, ceded about 10 million acres in Mississippi and Alabama. They gave up that land and moved to Oklahoma. That treaty made them walk the Trail of Tears and go to present-day Oklahoma. And they did outline some compensation. You know, they promised financial compensation and supplies, but they often weren't really provided. Now, when I talk about some of the Indians saying, hey, we don't want to go to Oklahoma, well, those that wanted to stay, this is what happened. The government, through the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek in 1830, they said, hey, there's some requirements for staying. As a matter of fact, let me pull up a little imagery on the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. One of the main requirements for staying in your sovereign land, which was no longer sovereign, which is now being taken over by foreign imperialists, right? But one of the outliers was, or the outlines was the Choctaw individuals, and really any tribe that wanted to stay. But the Choctaw individuals who wanted to stay had to adopt European American legal and cultural practices, basically forced assimilation. There was also land ownership changes. They had to accept changes in the land ownership and the management, which often disrupted traditional communal systems, really. I mean, hey, you can stay on your land, but your land isn't yours anymore. It's mine, but you can stay in the neighborhood. We're going to turn you into some sharecroppers or something. Now, when it comes to my tribe, the Creek Nation, this again resulted in our tribe giving up our lands in Alabama and going to Oklahoma. The Treaty of Washington in 1832, which followed up the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. The Treaty of Washington was specifically where my tribe has to succeed their lands in Alabama and Georgia and relocate to Oklahoma. And we face hardships, including cultural assimilation and many harsh conditions during relocation. But this is to say, A, some people try to fight Indian removal. Some people tried to stay. And even those that wanted to stay had to acquiesce to the powers of this foreign government. So when this man is going to make the argument towards, the last 30 minutes of our genealogy consultation, he's going to try to argue that we can somehow get benefits, we can get rectification, we can get reparations without Uncle Sam. I'm just not really seeing it. But this is a live call-in show, so if anybody wants to call in and weigh in on the topic, feel free to do so. Where you slice it, if you're looking for some kind of injunctive relief, you have to play court with our judicial system. And our judicial system isn't going to allow you to say, hey, I'm not a citizen of this tribe, but I know my ancestors were part of this tribe, and I want benefits, but I don't want to be federally recognized.
No, we don't need no
benefits to the federal government.
Let me put it like this. That seems extreme when you put it that way. I get it. And of course, the government would never let something happen they don't want, but they don't have to let you do what you naturally can do. Let me give examples. Like, even if it's just a regular company or a regular person and they have evidence that that's their property, you can go to court and get the benefit of receiving your land. You understand what I'm saying? Just very simple, not thinking too deep, just on a very simple situation. If you see something's yours, you have the claim, you can do that claim. You can file a lawsuit just for the claim of the asset acquisition, right?
If that was the case, no Native American tribes would live on reservations. They would live on their ancestral territory, right? Why would they live on reservations in the desert? Again,
this is all I'm trying to say.
Sue them and say, hey, this land is rightfully ours. I mean,
I'm not trying to say, hey, brother. First off, I understand what I'm saying is something that is a route untaken, mostly. I get that part. But just because something hasn't happened and doesn't happen a lot doesn't mean it isn't just as lawful. So if we utilize our mentality of just knowing law, and I'm listening to everything. So if it's a bunch of evidence there.
Let's pause the show real quick. We got a question from the audience. Manhattan Project says, how did the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek affect the Seminoles in Florida? It didn't. The treaty, one of the several treaties that affected the Seminoles in Florida, that's going to be the Treaty of Payne's Landing, Paynes Landing. That was in May 1832, and that was signed by a small number of Seminoles, and that was basically one of the first forced migrations of the Seminole Nation. I believe that actually forced them to give up their land in Florida and move out west.
That this is these people's land. Yeah, you can say at some point they became conquered. You can say that in war. At some point they became conquered, and at some point the boss of them, the conqueror, said you cannot do some things. We understand that. Okay, we understand that people got some daddies out there. But you don't have to act like you got a daddy though, and you don't need to respect somebody as your daddy to get your land. You feel me? For instance, in law,
you're going to be asking the government for the land.
No. We're not going to be asking the government. Let's explain something real quick.
You said sue them in court.
Please let me just complete. Lawsuits can be administratively enforced. You have this thing internationally. For instance, right now, if you know you're a tribe, even if you know you're a company, and you have a foreign jurisdiction and you do your own courts and have arbitration, there's a law, the Hague Convention on Foreign Laws being accepted. As long as you follow that law, you can enforce a foreign judgment in a foreign territory, right? These are just international laws. This is business. What I'm stating is, yes, you can go directly to the United States Supreme Court, but the thing about the United States Supreme Court is Pennsylvania, if we search, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is the bench's court. And the bench's court goes all the way to the Privy Council in London, right? So my point is, you don't go to the state court to sue the state. You go to who's above them, and there is somebody above all these. London? Well, London is where you have to go to Privy Council of London.
Going to the European court.
But this is the point. This is the point. You want the United States.
Is you still got to go play ball with the Europeans.
But the ball is not hard to be played.
Play ball with you.
If they, but this is my thing. If they don't want to, they don't want to. But guess what? That brings up the fact that we not no pussy ass niggas no more, bro. That brings up the real fact of the matter. That brings up the fact of the matter that in 2024, we no longer no pussy ass niggas, and we don't need nobody to guarantee us nothing that we know we can take. And this is what I truly mean. At some point, if your master says they not gonna give you your rights and let you be a man over yourself, at some point that ain't gonna suffice, brother. Because look, if what we're saying is we can take all this evidence, they can say that they conquered us, they can say that this is really our land, but we automatically gonna assume, first off, that the Privy Council won't overturn them, because the Privy Council will. They've done it many times. That even the court's bench in Pennsylvania, Supreme Court, they've done it many times because the relationship between London courts and America is different. They're two different agencies. It's like they daddies. And then if the Privy Council don't do what they supposed to do, that's a business. That's international law. There are international councils, right? And if we maximize and we go through every chain of command, literally saying that we have the right to handle our own affairs, and if every command don't say so, then that's evidence that it's time to not be scared to die for this shit no more.
So you basically saying you march into London and it's up and it's stuck.
It ain't about just London, because it's been up and it's been stuck. And guess what? Based on evidence, Meek Mill, not to get to, we got evidence of the Privy Council and we have evidence of the bench, of the King's Bench, actually overturning United States government shit because the crown is still on the land, right? All I'm trying to say is this, not to get too deep. We cannot go to the Indian Bureau of Reserve, the Indian Reservoir motherfuckers, the Indian, you know what I'm talking about, the Indian Bureau, and we cannot go to the United States of America trying to get relief against them. Yeah, we can go to them, like you're saying, and take the little reservation shit they want to give us for the evidence of 1900s and 1800s, but it's some shit before that totally makes that 1800 benefit shit look like nothing.
And this is why it all starts with doing your genealogy, because until you do your family tree, you really don't even know what your ties are familiarly, right? I
agree.
I mean, for all we know, some people do their family tree and they people come from Canada or they got French in them or something. So once you do your family tree and you link tribal affiliation, that third step doesn't have to be applying for tribal citizenship. It could be attempting a route that you're talking about. And honestly, even though I haven't seen it done, and although I'm a bit pessimistic on that outlook, I've got over 20,000 subscribers. My content reaches over 300,000 people a month. What I'd actually like to do, if I have your permission, is I'd like to do a broadcast on this subject later today, because I've actually had a lot of people from the Israeli, the Hebrew, and the Moorish community call into my streams lately, and they talk about doing very similar things to you. They talk about getting injunctive relief and getting, punitive damages, but without having to seek that relief from the United States government. So, if I do have your permission, if, the last 20 minutes of this consultation, if I can just take the last 20 minutes and do a live call-in show on it later this evening, I think this could really promote some thought. And for all we know, we might have some people call in that are like, no, I'm in the process of doing this. And actually, this is possible, Kevin. And these are the proper steps to take.
Yeah, I would say I fully grant that. A. B, the reason I'm so passionate on that is because right now, I am working with a group of brothers from Ireland all over to the UK, over to Japan, through Jamaica, that's on this same mission. And we seeing our connections. We seeing our history's connections. And we knowing, and we seeing even how they let Vibes Cartel out just now. How he get out? He got out because in order to overturn the judgment in Jamaica, he had to go to the Privy Council in the United Kingdom in London, bro. Why? Because it's the Virginia Company of London and the London merchants who
With
really.
all due respect, though, I thought that was a little bit different. I thought Jamaica is a commonwealth, which is why they had to go to London.
But guess what? Guess what, though? The strange thing about all of this, and this is a great point, right? Yeah, we thought they was a Commonwealth. When you really do the research, listen to what I'm saying. When you really do the research, you'll see that the United States of America, right? They have the state governments, remember. Then they have the federal government, which is Washington, D.C. But then please read about the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is still the king's bench. It represents the king's interest in America, and it gets to overturn whatever the fuck if you go there, it overturns the other American courts shit. And then above it is still in law right now. Above it, you have the Privy Council in London. That's the hierarchy of courts. You have all the state courts, and then you have federal court, federal Supreme Court, but it's the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania specifically that represents the crown still. And yes, Jamaica's a commonwealth. And yes, all commonwealths are still commonwealths. But guess what? The United States of America is a commonwealth too, because Washington, D.C. is a commonwealth.
Yep, I feel you. And that's why I think it's good to have this discussion on more of a public platform, because there's a lot of folks I've been talking to over the last couple of weeks who really do believe in that same rhetoric that you're promoting. And while I think that unfortunately we have to make some kind of concessions and deal with the government, there are individuals like yourself that do have a unique approach in which you can actually supersede your local and federal government. So, I think it'll definitely be an interesting conversation. I'll most likely do this broadcast at what time? It's 11:19 a.m. my time right now. I'll most likely do this broadcast at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to tune in and call in and chop it up with the people, it'll be a great opportunity.
Okay, I got one thing for you. A, I'm willing. B, you can use it. C, it's divine, because D, I'm going to send you a link that I wasn't going to send people. It's a lot going on, but I'm going to send you a link so you can see where my work has led me to now. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And what's going on. But yeah, I accept the invite, bro. And I will not be like plug in what I send you. I just want you to know why my angle is what it is. And I also want you to
click in and call into the broadcast. Then I want you to share your screen, plug whatever info you got, cite your sources. If anything, a little bit of a forewarning, since it's the internet and it's public. I mean, don't be surprised if some people disagree. We're gonna have our Moorish sovereign citizen individuals backing you, like, yeah, that's right, you got to understand. And then we're gonna have some people that may not be privy to the knowledge or think different opinions. We're like, oh no, this guy's crazy. So it is a public discussion. So just be expected for people to agree and disagree.
Hey, A, I appreciate it. B, I'm with it. C, let's do it, man, because this was great. Oh, I wanted to tell you that your part of the puzzle is definitely needed too, man, because let me tell you, it's only when you can provide evidence that you have exhausted your internal attempts can you pursue external attempts. And what I mean by that is we have enough evidence to show that the governments and the fake governments, the people that's acting like they governments but not in the territory called the United States of America, have usurped many positions and have overdone many areas of authority. We have much evidence of that. So if we ever wanted to show reason why we have to take this stuff to a higher court, we got enough evidence. But the evidence would have to, it's coming through you, through things that you're doing. This is a very pivotal part of the puzzle, right? So collecting the data in the way that you're prescribing, it serves as evidence to back the claims, not that United States owes us something, no, because the United States is sending their money to their owner, which is still London. It's the London that we need to go ahead and cup check respectfully. And I perceive that that's just going to be business. That's the name of the game right now. And not just London, then Ireland and Scotland, because the Kingdom of Ireland, Kingdom of Scotland, and England and the UK, all of them, man, we coming for all of them, because at the end of the name, if you Google your last name and the first thing come up say Irish, it's for a reason. If the first thing come up and say Wales, it's for a reason. And that reason is real deep. And I perceive it's the real reason, that they don't want us to know is those places are extensions of here. Like, I truly perceive that just like the Egyptians over out east, they say that they people came from the west, came from here. And the stories of Atlantis and Mu being the seeds of civilization, even through the Celtic tribes. So I perceive that a certain group of people want to tell us that it's Europe first, and that came to America, when it's America first, then the cultures of the world. You know, and
so wait, I have a question before we close out. So then what's your opinion on reparations for slavery? Do you also think we shouldn't go after the federal government for that we should
well I'll put it like this. I'll be honest. You want to hear the truth of the matter?
No, I want you to lie to me and make it sound good. No, I'm kidding.
the truth of the matter is this, right? When I read the laws of the government of the United States of America, I actually see great laws. So I saw so many great laws that I was inspired to start a federal agency, because every man, woman, and child has the ability to do that, right? I discovered. Yet, to answer your question straight up, I would say this: we should go about any and every means possible, because the United States of America ain't nothing other than custodians for our property. They basically, like, imagine your bookkeeper. They just managing our books for us. That's it. And the way they manage them is how we say, not as citizens though. See, because you got citizens, but then you have the shareholders. The shareholders is what lay the law down from the top. We the shareholders, not the sharecroppers. They were the sharecroppers first, then started a revolution on us. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, reparations is really agriculture-based. Let's be real. It's an agriculture-based lawsuits. If you Google reparations, it happens in the Department of Agriculture. This is what nobody talks about. It's a basic lawsuit at the Department of Agriculture when a stockyard employee or a stockyard owner, which is somebody who had custody of product that was product of agriculture, did not handle their business properly. So that's you. If you going through reparations, you're saying that you're a farm property. You're saying you're an animal, okay? And you're saying my masters wasn't treating me well. So I say, if you want to go that route, go that route. And it only helps the greater group if every route is happening at the same time. But to look at that route like the answer is the whole fucking bullshit, excuse my language, that makes us consistently accept benefits when every benefit is a right naturally and plus more. So if they trying to give you a benefit, just know that that's just a piece. That's like 10% or 1% of your rights. So say, hey, I take that benefit in the form of a right, not in the form of a benefit as a subject. I'm not subjected to your nothing. So I would say,
as far as reparations for slavery, again, do you think we should seek that through the federal government or some foreign government?
Okay, if you really wanted to get reparations from the federal government, you always got to go to the parents to holler at somebody to make them do something, right? Period. So you got to realize that the federal government of America has a daddy. Okay.
So you think we want reparations for slavery, we should go to Europe?
Because it's all agriculture. It's agriculture. If you want agricultural lawsuit, right? It's a Department of Agriculture lawsuit. Google that first. Realize that reparations ain't nothing but a agricultural lawsuit. And you're saying that you're an animal in order to make that type of claim. But at the end of the day, go to the parents of the company that you're suing. So if you're trying to get an agricultural claim from the Department of Agriculture, who's their daddy? The Washington, D.C. Who are they? They are what? They are Commonwealth. Who are the Commonwealth crown? The crown is the United Kingdom. That's why all roads lead to Rome, Italy. You feel me? But this is part of the London Bridge. It's the whole thing. London Bridge falling down is our connection to the crown. You feel me? We need to reestablish that bridge because that's the daddy.
Hold on. Educate me on that. I'm familiar with the children's jingle, London Bridge is falling down, but I had no idea that had some kind of historical precedent.
I mean, London Bridge is falling. You don't want to say it because it's really a spell, right? Like witchcraft. But we were the original families over there too, right? Because we do international trade. So long story short, The bridge is the connection from the crown of the east to the crown of the west. The crown is the ultimate authority in the land. All property is the property of the crown. If the United States says it's its property, then the United States is saying, I'm managing property for the crown. That's all United States property is. It's not owned by the United States. So the bridge is the court in Pennsylvania. The court in Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania is what? The King's Bench. The King's Bench. Google it. So the King's Bench, what? It's the representation of the crown on this side of the land. And what's the representation of the crown on that side of the land? You got London, the crown, right? So the court there, you know, you can Google which one is the Supreme there, but they have a Supreme Court there. They have a foreign trust there, but the crown there, the crown here, the bridge is the London Bridge, the bridge to London. We trying to get United States to do some shit, and then what the fuck is that? We keep going to them. What the fuck? For what? They can. What the fuck? We look. You have to go to their parents because look, you only in your blood, in your ancestors. Yourself, your people, the only way they're gonna wake up and do something about this is if they realize two things. I hollered at the daddies of these motherfuckers and they checked their asses. Now we good. Or I hollered at the daddies of these motherfuckers and they didn't even check their asses. Oh, it's on and popping. Fuck these motherfuckers. It's gonna be one of the two. But you can't get to that point of making an ultimate decision as a group of people until you actually audit these motherfuckers, the United States of America, and you take them to their daddies, the crown, the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, the bench, the King's Bench, or you fucking take their asses to London.
The Englishman's perspective, though, why would they feel a need to answer your claim of reparations?
Oh, I got this instantly. First off, we're not going to them for reparations. That's a separate question. Reparations is just again agricultural some shit. What we going to them for is the fact that we are the lawful heirs to all of this property that they manage, and we no longer want them to manage us. They've been fucking up their job. They ain't been handling these duties. Because if you understand what the real shit is every government is again, remember, they accountants, they managers of what? Of your shit. Who is us? We are the original heirs. We saying we got all the evidence that we've been here before them on every side of the land. So if they the bookkeepers, they just accountants, man, and they just fiscal agents and custodians of our property, and they not listening to us like they supposed to, then we go to their parents, bro. And if that don't work, then just know it's time for whatever at that point. But it ain't time for whatever until you actually see, find out if they daddy's gonna be on their ass. And I'm gonna tell you, they daddy's gonna be on their ass. Let me tell you why. Because British crown is different than America. It's different than the United States of America. See, the Commonwealth is a collective. The United States of America is still part of the Commonwealth. It's a collective of 20, 30, 40 countries, man. And they all got something to say. Why? If you go to London, not only they got something to say, but regular businessmen got something to say. Why? You got to know how London government works. You go and see who can vote in London.
Oh, sure.
You don't even have to.
Wait, hold on, real quick, brother, real quick. I just realized I got to segue into this next consultation. I got to.
Yeah, do your thing, man.
But hey, since you did give me permission to replay the last 20 minutes or so and have this live discussion, if you do want to just let the people know a little bit what you felt about the consultation. I mean, did you get scammed? Are you robbed out of $50? Was the information pertinent? What do you think?
I would say honestly, it's pertinent its own time. When it comes to directions, yeah, it may seem simple when it comes to the peel. Anytime you get the peel, like the actual solution, what to do, it seems like it's simple. But the benefit of it was you really tying together the history of how all this works and how this came to be, the different types of tribes, and then just giving the clear solution for citizenship through the recognized tribal means, which is okay. I say all of these methods are important, yet they're very important when all of them are happening at the same time. We maximize the effect of any one of them when it's all going down or all going up, however you want to look at it.
For sure, for sure. And yeah, and even though our consultation's coming to an end, I do plan on being a continued resource for everybody that I meet with. So if you do have any questions or concerns that pop up in the future, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Or let's say you finish doing your family tree and you want to get a recap on how to search through those American Indian records that I showed you on Ancestry.com, then don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be glad
Yeah,
to
I'm
help.
definitely tapping in and staying tapped in, bro. I'm definitely, man. Appreciate you for the time. This is definitely time well spent.
Yep. And then I did, although I'm only going to be sharing, the last 30 minutes or so of our session with my audience, I'll make sure to send you the full hour and a half consultation recording, since I know you said you wanted to share it with your sister, right?
Yeah, my fam, man. We putting the pieces of the puzzle together for sure. And look, I definitely want to rock with you. And as I send you what I'm gonna send you, I want to incorporate your services into that. And I can see a lot of people I know using your service.
For sure, for sure.
And
Well, I got to run, but we'll be in touch. I'm going to do that stream later today at like 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So don't be a stranger. Pop over there, say what's up.
Black American and a proud member of the Muscogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. Help me help you discover your roots with a personalized genealogy consultation. Paper trail genealogy matters. DNA tests can't prove ethnicity or tribal affiliation. You must search through paper records to dive deep into your family heritage. During the meeting, I will teach you how to navigate the genealogy process with ease. You'll learn how to link tribal affiliation with your ancestors, and I'll show you the step-by-step process I went through to gaining tribal citizenship. Take the first step to unlocking your past. To book a consultation, send an email to mike@keymediapro.com.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are live. The phone lines are open. Click the link, call in. Let me know what you think about this discussion. Like I said, I would never share someone's personal genealogy consultation publicly, but the last 30 minutes were very thought-provoking, so I asked his permission to share with you all. I said, hey, let's expound upon it. Let's dive deeper. Let's bring different minds together. Let's have a bit of a powwow, if you will. And we've got several people backstage. We're going to start by bringing up the man of the hour, Kevin himself. Before we do, I urge you guys to smash that like button, share the video, hit the Cash App or the PayPal if you support the mission. Throw 5 on it. I am your humble servant after all. They got your boy demonetized and shadow banned, but we're still here to give you the content you desperately need. Speaking of which, we had Raheem come through with a Cash App contribution. Raheem, thank you for the support, my good brother. I appreciate you for sliding something in the brown paper bag.
Brown paper bag. Brown paper bag.
I appreciate the support. Your guys' direct contributions, it was what keeps the lights on and keeps me pumping out content full time. Lord, oh Lord, let's go ahead and get on into it. Now, when we bring Kevin up, before we bring other people up and have everybody, provide their different opinions, I want to do a little bit of fact checking with Kevin, and I want him to expound upon some things. He wasn't totally wrong on everything. He did say a lot of things that were factual, but there were a couple things that I think he got incorrect, and I believe steel sharpens steel. So just in good faith, we're going to make sure to talk about it. And then there's things that I don't think he got wrong, but I think we don't have an understanding of, and we need him to dive deeper on. So, for example, I would say off the top of my head, I know he mentioned the U.S. as a commonwealth. It's my understanding that the United States is not a commonwealth. Now, if he believes that maybe behind closed doors Orwellian dystopian-like secret societies are really, linking the United States as a pseudo commonwealth to Europe, I mean, that's another discussion, but just on paper, just mainstream, the United States is not a commonwealth of Britain. First thing. Second thing, I really want him to provide his clarification on reparations, because when I asked him what he thinks about reparations, if we think we should go to the federal government, some foreign government, he said specifically, and I quote, and I can only quote him because I take notes, guys. I'm not really just this smart. I just take good notes and compile receipts. That's why you guys know me as the king of said receipts. But when I asked him about reparations, he said reparations is agricultural based, and it's going to have to be a lawsuit with the Department of Agriculture. And that's the first time I've ever heard that. I'm just going to keep it a buck. So I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying I want him to provide some sources, some more information. If there's anybody in the chat that also concurs and believes that reparation is a agricultural based lawsuit with the Department of Agriculture, then let me know. I mean, it doesn't seem far off. It doesn't seem like super aloof and pseudo. I mean, what was slavery? It was free farm labor mostly. It was also skilled labor. We were blacksmiths. We held many of roles, many of positions, but most of the wealth in the South was textiles and farming. So you know, I see how there is basis for that, but we definitely need a deeper dive into what that would look like with the lawsuit with the Department of Agriculture, and why not just go after the, you know, United States on a federal level, since you know I think the U.S. Department of Agriculture is federal, right? Maybe, I don't know. Don't quote me. But the third thing I really want him to clarify is why he believes we should go to the courts of London. He said something along the lines of, you know, he wishes he can get tribal like benefits without being a federal recognized member of the tribe, and he mentioned going to London, and I kind of make the tongue-in-cheek joke that he wants to go to the Lords of London, but he said that basically Europe is the United States' daddy. So instead of going to daddy, we go to daddy's daddy. So I'm just wondering, you know, if going to Europe is really going to be the best bet. But guys, let's go ahead and bring up the man of the hour. Coming from the back to the front, we got our good brother Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Appreciate you for the time and energy and the invite.
Oh yeah.
I just was looking at myself like, wow, it's something else when you look at yourself. I'm like, man, you really? And now I see why people be saying I'm over the top emotional.
No, you're not emotional. You're just passionate about the information.
Really passionate.
And oftentimes when people aren't privy to your information, they view that as, oh, that's just some emotional Negro. Like, I get it all the time. You know, I'd be dropping bombs on indigenous Aboriginal history, and people, oh, you so emotional, Mike. I mean, okay. I like to think of a Kanye West quote, right? He said, they say I talk with so much emphasis. Ooh, they so sensitive.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Chicago. Everybody in Chicago said, no, that's how we born, Chicago.
That's right. But yeah, give the people a brief introduction to yourself, you know, where you're from, any schools of thought or different, you know, thought leaders that, you know, you've absorbed information from that have helped you in this path to knowledge.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thanks, you know, to the ancestors and to those individuals who are older than me who took the time to tell me anything, regardless of how I perceive the information. And individuals like, you know, from those who have passed, I gotta say, shout out to Baba Heru, who's passed, Baba California, you feel me, my living, Uncle David, my mother, my father, for just throwing all types of information from all types of angles over my life, my sisters, my brothers, and everybody. So my story is everybody's story to some degree, right? I'm from Chicago, right? That's where I was born. You know, that's what it was called when I was born there. You know, I didn't grow up in any gangs or nothing like that. I moved to Indiana as a young man, grew up there. That's the first time I got into like some multicultural shit, started to go to school with white people too, see some different races, different type of education, graduated high school, college, did a little bit of college there. You know, young, I was into like, my mother was a Jehovah's Witness. You feel me? So I was going door to door, just really brushing up on social skills, getting a lot of good social skills, man. That's how I look at it. Secondly, I never 100% got indoctrinated because I literally was just reading the Bible in my spare time and writing down, you know, what I perceived the truth was. So I always had my own unique perspective based on how I analyze information. Over the years, you know what I'm saying, going through a lot of stuff, you know, most of my story is our story. You know, families break up, then youth go do what they do. So then I got in the streets late, a little later. You feel what I'm saying? Got some money in different ways, realized that's not for me. You know, go to college, got a wife, got divorced, traveled a little bit here and there. The whole time perceived that life could be better and should be better for a lot of people. Was always searching for a solution. And as of yet, you know, I'm starting to come to my own perspectives now. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah, no, I
Starting to
feel
creep
you.
in.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And that's why, I've really been trying to bridge the gap between different communities of thought because I think everything has its seed of truth, right? I mean, I had my Christian phase senior year of high school to, sophomore or kind of like into freshman year of college. But we
Facts.
do instinctually as melanated people find truth in something like the Bible, even though it is the European King James version, and he took things and added things. The seed of truth is still within, which is why it's still being able to be used as a tool for destruction or good, right?
Facts.
Because power is just how you wield it. And although I once looked at the Hebrew Israelite and the Moorish people as complete pseudo clowns, the more that I look into my Aboriginal heritage and history in North America specifically,
Facts.
we see there is a connection there. There's more pyramids across the Americas than the rest of the world combined.
Yeah, the connections is everywhere. The connections is everywhere. It's a game. It's a game called Connections and Will They Remember? That's what I perceive the game is called, Connections and Will They Remember? Like, will they remember? There's watchers watching us, listening to everything, listening to the motor, everybody trying to see if we gonna really remember like all these connections and that they all really us. You feel me? Like if it ain't them, it's us. You feel me? And
Not only are there more pyramids in the Americas than the rest of the world combined, the pyramids in the Americas predate the pyramids in Egypt by 7 to 8,000 years. Not only
yeah,
that, but I know in our consultation earlier, I think I shared with you, but I'd also like to share with my audience some of these structures, some of these mounds, such
yeah,
as the Serpent Mound in Ohio. Not only is this a vast feat of landscaping, but this has astronomical properties. It
facts.
lines up with the summer solstice sunset. The head does. The tail lines up with the winter solstice sunrise. The serpent's body curves with the parallel lunar phases. It lines up with the equinoxes, and it matches the Draco star and the star Thuban. And then at a certain point in the day, it looks like the head is swallowing the sun, and it points true north. So not only are the pyramids 7 to 8,000 years before any pyramid was ever in Egypt or Africa, but there's more of them than the rest of the world combined, and evidence of advanced astronomical and mathematical equations being solved by the indigenous aboriginals. And we know that these indigenous aboriginals were melanated because the Spaniards, when they came over, spoke very candidly about those melanated Indians, those negros de terras. The Spanish didn't have to lie to kick it. The Spanish was just trying to take some gold back to Spain. The Spanish wasn't trying to turn this into a new Spain like the British were trying to turn it into a New England. Oh shit, they literally got territory called New England and New York and
New
New
Jersey.
Hampshire. Oh damn, New Jersey. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man.
I say all that to say I'm trying to bridge the gap more so than create division when it comes to the Moorish Hebrew folks, because although they seem quite outlandish at times, there is a seed of truth.
See,
For example, there's a stone that they found. Have you ever heard of the Decalogue stone?
no, I haven't.
Okay. Well, real quick, and we're gonna allow you to provide some more remarks. We got 4 people backstage.
No, that's all good, man.
Yeah, that we're
Seeing
gonna bring
people
up as well.
comments too. I'm seeing people comments. They really everything that everybody's saying is on point in some way, bringing light to some situation.
It all intersects. It all intersects just like a watch. Hold on. Let me bring up a whiteboard. Let me bring up a whiteboard and just take everybody to grade school real quick, okay? It all intersects.
It really do.
Let's see what we got, right? Let's see. We've got let me share my screen. This is what it's about, right? So we've got, what are the major schools of thought, right? You've got the indigenous community, we're just going to say the Indians. We've got the Moors. We've got the Christians. And let's say the Hebrews. And just like in grade school, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this perfectly first try, right? But just like in grade school, You got to circle around one. You got to circle around another. You got to circle around this one. And you've got to circle around this one. And what I'm trying to say is there's a point of convergence where there's that seed of
singularity. Facts.
There's a singularity. Now things get mixed up in translation and culture and dialects, different things, but that seed of truth, that point of intersection is still there. And y'all know me as the king of receipts. So if I'm gonna say that there's some Aboriginal Hebrew connection, I gotta show y'all some form of receipt, right? So
there's connections all across that board because all of those names, first off, they're misnumbers, all of them, all four of them, and of the original versions of all of them. So that's the thing that allowed them to be divided because instead of imagine that you never conquer a person, but you just create a false version of their group. Mm-hmm. You feel me? And over time, they forget which version are they.
Yep. No, and that's exactly what happened. In 1682, in 1682, they started taking Black Indians and reclassifying them as Negro, right? 1682. Guess what? The first U.S. Census wasn't until 1790. So 100 years of reclassification before they even started to tally motherfuckers up. Then the Emancipation Proclamation ain't until 1863. So from 1682 to 1863 is a couple generations. So you take a Black Indian, reclassify him as an African Negro slave, put him on a plantation. His children are born in that condition. It's illegal for them to read or to write or to educate themselves. They're being told they're from Africa. Then your children's children grow up in that same environment and then get free in 1863, and they're called freedmen. And most people don't realize that freedmen are reclassified descendants of Black Aboriginals.
Yeah, and I would say there's some connection between freedmen in London as well, because the term freedman in London represented a person who had land, the right to own land, without being a member of a guild. Like, this stuff get deep.
Well, let's go ahead and touch on the indigenous American Hebrew connection first.
Let me show you one more connection. In 1860, David Wyrick, he's a guy who surveyed the Newark earthworks. He was digging into a mound near those earthworks, and he found a wooden coffin made of oak. They opened up the coffin and found a skeleton of a man holding a little box. It was about 8.10 inches in size. The box had been cemented shut here. This, by the way, is sitting in Ohio. Well, he opened up the box and he found a little man inside, a little black stone. They took it to scholars and they looked at it. The man seems to be carrying something. And there's writing here at first they couldn't recognize. The writing is, they thought in 1860, some sort of Hebrew. Well, finally, about 20 years later, they found some rabbis living in the area, and the rabbis looked at that, and they could read it. They said it was an old kind of block Hebrew, and it was a rendition of the Ten Commandments. Now, this is another piece. Block Hebrew. They said they'd never seen anything like it. Mainstream archaeologists at the time called this a hoax. But then in 1900, or just about after 1900, in Israel, they found the same block-style Hebrew writing. Mainstream archaeologists still dismissed the findings. They found it in Israel, and they found it in Ohio. But there was another stone that they found that they couldn't argue. This is the
Ohio, where they found it, huh? Ohio's the same place where that serpent mound is I was showing y'all earlier. Yeah, Ohio.
It's definitely connected. The Midwest was one of them points.
Creek stone. It was found during the course of an official Smithsonian evacuation. The Smithsonian didn't understand the meaning of the writing on the stone. They thought it was Cherokee, since it came from Cherokee country. They didn't realize that it's actually Hebrew. They had published this originally upside down. They threw it in a box at the bottom of the Smithsonian, put it in the basement. Many years later, a scholar took it out of the box, looked at it, and went, oh my gosh, it's upside down. It's Phoenician, ancient Hebrew. So what's going on here? What is that about? Where is that history? I'll show you in a few minutes, and we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to show you some more things that...
Come on, y'all. Put a 1 in the chat if you had no idea. Put a 1 in the chat if this is your first time seeing some evidence that points to a Hebrew connection between indigenous communities.
The Smithsonian, science, government, commerce colluded to erase. By the way, I want to thank the directors of the documentary Lost Civilizations of North America for bringing these stories to my attention. I was blown away. To find more, visit the website, lostcivilizationdvd.com.
What I realized,
Here's the thing we should be asking ourselves. I don't know the story of these. Do you know? Did you know that? Do you live in Ohio and did you know that? Why not? Were the American Indians wronged? Yes. Yes, and that's what we focus on in America, is we were bad to the American. Forget about it, it's in the past. The question should be the ones that the founders asked. Who are they? What knowledge do they have? Can you imagine the difference we would have now if we would put our differences aside and put our past in the past and concentrate on today and say, let's learn from each other. What do you have?
All right, white man, get off your soapbox, pink belly. But the information is still there. And let me just bring up another source, since we have to look at multiple sources, right?
This is the Decalogue stone with the 10 Commandments written on it.
Hey, y'all, this is going to be the only time I see the History Channel strictly talk about history and not try to say niggas didn't do it, aliens did, okay? This is going to be the one time they don't try to give credit to the aliens, y'all. Watch.
On all sides of it. And this is a stone box that the Decalogue was found in.
Okay.
So when it was found, it was enclosed in this box and you couldn't even see the stone inside. The box is carved out inside exactly to fit the Decalogue stone.
Well, who's that guy?
Well, this figure here on the front that's wearing a robe and a turban and holding either tablets or a breastplate, and over his head in these Hebrew letters it says Moshe or Moses.
Oh,
So must be Moses,
okay, that's Moses. All right.
who delivered the 10 Commandments.
10 Commandments. Okay, well. It seems to pass the scrutiny of the skeptics as far as the Hebrew text in the language. So now I'd like to try to add some evidence to this whole discussion.
God damn it. And they always got to make it dramatic as a motherfucker, y'all. Just read it. Just read it and authenticate it. Hold on. Here we go.
It took an awful lot of work. I mean, if it was really a forgery, you wouldn't go to all that much trouble to make a box for it. So I think that speaks to its authenticity, that someone really this was very important to someone.
This is a lot of work, and it's polished. It's got the detailing of the grooves. It wasn't made, as far as I can tell, from modern machinery. Geologically, I don't see any problems here that would make these things obvious hoaxes. So the skeptics have rejected this.
Well, that's been a factor, but Hebrew is an odd thing to find here.
The fact that it's odd doesn't mean that it's not genuine. What it boils down to is really the problem with these artifacts is that the academics don't like them because they don't fit the paradigm. And unfortunately for them, you can't dismiss things simply because you don't like them.
Right.
And so the evidence to me seems clear. There's no reason not to accept these as genuine, legitimate.
So I show that to say this. If we're now learning about it and it's been authenticated, then we have to ask ourselves, why do the ancient Native Americans have a stone with the 10 Commandments written in Hebrew on it? I mean, hey, we just have to ask the questions. We just have to ask them. But real quick, before we bring up some more guests, Kevin, let's touch on some of those points that I made earlier before I brought you up. I know earlier you said the U.S. is a commonwealth. What did you mean by that exactly?
You know, honestly, well, I can get to that real quick. Basically, Commonwealth was a group of independent nations that have allegiance to the crown. You know what I'm saying? They still got allegiance to the crown. I can show you better than I can tell you, since everybody like evidence. The best way, I mean, at the same time, Washington, D.C. is still a commonwealth. These states still have it. You know, they still say it. If you Wikipedia, if you look at their documents, it still shows which states are still a commonwealth, right? It's still in operation. That's what I mean.
So you're saying that there's certain U.S. states that are still a commonwealth to Europe?
Yes, because you got to know what United States is. United States. State is an independent, like a nation in and of itself. They just...
Well, hold on. Let's slow down. Can you give me a name? Name one of these states that are a commonwealth to Britain.
Pennsylvania one. Yeah, you could just do a simple list of commonwealth states in America. You know, like it's public information.
Research on that. Hey, and while you pull up some sources
Virginia,
on that,
Massachusetts, Kentucky,
hold on.
Pennsylvania.
Tell me. While you get some resources on that, let me just address the contrarian troll in the room. Ava says, hold on. Ava says, Black Indians have always been black, not reclassified as Negro slaves. Mike TV just told a bold-faced lie. Well, you know, I would love for you to actually click the link and call in and say it with your chest. That would be a wonderful thing. We know that most likely won't happen, so I guess I'll just stick to killing you with receipts. In Virginia, specifically in 1682, they passed 2 laws that combined Native Americans and Africans into one category as Negroes and other slaves. So what do you mean Black Indians have always been black, not reclassified as... They were never called Black Indians. They never called themselves Black Indians. They went by their tribe's name. And then when the foreigners came, they called them Native Americans or called them Aboriginals to America or indigenous people. And then in 1682, the melanated ones that were indigenous got reclassified as Negro and slave and lumped into the same category as Africans. And then in the early 1900s, Walter Plecker took melanated people that had Indian identity on their records, such as birth certificates, marriage documents, and he crossed that out and wrote in colored. So what are you talking about? Furthermore, there was different classifications of slaves. Before Virginia made those laws that lumped up everybody into the Negro African slave category, there was Indian slaves, there was Moorish slaves, there was Negro slaves, there were mulatto slaves, and there were European slaves.
Yeah.
So you must not know about me.
You really on their necks, man. I ain't know you can come at people like that. Look, check it out.
They don't know.
Look, let me real quick.
White slaves, hold on. White slaves. One last receipt, just because you mentioned white slaves. Yeah. You're right. There was white slaves. This is an excerpt from a book called White Cargo, The Forgotten Story of Thousands of White Britons Who Lived and Died in Bondage in America's British Colonies. In the 17th and 18th centuries, more than 300,000 white people were shipped to America as slaves. Urchins, aka homeless kids on the street, right? Like Orphan Annie and little chimney sweepers, right? They were swept up from London streets to labor in tobacco fields, where life expectancy was no more than 2 years. Brothels, aka whorehouses, were raided to provide breeders for Virginia. Hopeful migrants were duped into signing as indentured servants, unaware they would become personal property who can be bought, sold, and even gambled away. Transported convicts were paraded for sale like livestock. So yeah, Ava, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but there's some receipts for your ass. Now take a seat and stick to spectating.
Facts. Hey, this gets deep, man. Listen, this makes me know that people just need to know that everything is connected. Like when they talk about public and private, it's like the public gets certain information and private gets certain information. Private just means those who know. You search, you find out on your own, and your group of people, y'all find out, y'all share information, right? So what I could show real quick as some evidence, if we could do a screen share, or I could show you some information, I could drop the links, you could pull it up.
There should be a button on the bottom of your screen that says share screen or something.
Present, I think. Share screen. Look, whatever. Let's see how this go. I'm just gonna show the whole window and we see how this go. Because I just want you to see something. Let me know if y'all can see this, if you can see.
Yep. Yeah, I see it.
All right, look. So 2 pieces. We're gonna start. I'm gonna start with what I put at the end. It's just like 10 links, and I'm gonna go up real quick. Bow. The key, I'm gonna start with the end at first. The key is to see the game. The game is they can tell you anything in the news, they can write anything in some books, but the truth gonna still be written down too. So you just gotta know what source is the truth, and you gotta know what I perceive is it's all still happening. So let me show you the first piece of evidence that it's still happening. First, the first evidence people need is the Commonwealth still exists. Okay? This is evidence. They show you the commonwealth.org. Anybody could go to the commonwealth.org. It still exists. They don't care about hiding nothing. It's okay because it's all just business. You go to who we are, member countries. You go to the member countries. Okay. Ooh, the number's racking up. It's 56 countries make up they didn't say used to make up the Commonwealth. It says it's 56 independent. See, you got to know how government works. It's independent countries. They still independent, but they still operate together. You know what I'm saying? They make up the Commonwealth in Africa, Asia, the Americas, Europe, and the Pacific. It's 33 of the world's 42 small states are Commonwealth members, each with a population of 1.5 million or less. 2.7 billion citizens live in Commonwealth countries. Citizens is always important because anytime you say a citizen, no matter what title, you are a property and you pledge allegiance of that nation. It's best to be a citizen of a nation that has you in mind that you actually can go holler at the leaders.
Real quick, I did find something that might shed light on what you're saying. So it is actually true. You said that Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth. Apparently, there are 4 states in the United States that call themselves Commonwealth: Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Apparently, allegedly, they want us to believe that the distinction is in name alone.
Now, let me show you. You can see how it's not in name only right now, real quick. So
I think words matter. I think names matter. So I don't know why only 4 out of the 51 states will be Commonwealth and we're supposed to think nothing of it. Yeah, that's a bit sketchy.
It's very sketchy because it's just the truth. Remember, public information, private information, and both of them are right in your face. You got to choose how you gonna choose. It's just like life. So here you go. We see these are some countries. They just showing you who they are: Africa, Asia, Caribbean, and Americas. See, a United States of America hides in plain sight everywhere. Look, they're not here as a Commonwealth. But you just, how do you know? You just keep on looking. Okay, right here, this is a key. United Nation. When you talk about decolonization, because that's what we are essentially kind of talking about, yet the game gets deep because there's 2 levels of everything, at least. And I don't want to get that deep. I'll just show you this. So the United Nations in decolonization, what they're saying here, if you go to un.org, this is unitednations.org/DPPA, whatever, decolonization/English and shit, right? They showing you the non-self-governing territories. Look, there's 3 colors. There's only 3 colors, according to the United Nations, how they manage all countries of the world, of this version of the world, right? 3 colors. There's purple, there's pink colors, there's a light peach color, and then there's white colors. What do these things mean? Well, it just says non-self-governing and administering powers. So I guess it's only 2 colors. It's only pink and white. Sounds like some, anyway. The thing is, you got pink is pretty much everything. And what is pink? Pink is non-self-governing, which means they are not governing themselves. And then white is administering powers. White, they means they're administering. They're just powers that administers things.
Hold on. Let's get a little bit of clarification. So based on how I'm viewing this, pink is just the color of the land masses that are not administering powers. And then it looks like the yellow names with the yellow square, that's the non-self-governing territory. So specifically the Cayman Islands, the Virgin Islands, Western Sahara, but all the other stuff in pink that doesn't have a yellow block next to it apparently just isn't a part of this equation. So you've got the non-self-governing territories, which I think are basically commonwealths or ruled by foreigners. And then I think the administering powers are supposed to be people who are supposed to be, nations that are supposed to be sovereign and run their own shit. And basically it's saying that the whole world is ran by the United States of America, France, and the UK.
Now check this out. Check out how this means. Check out this. Think about this really quickly. The United States of America, the people who we say run it, and the UK people who we say run it, they are the only people trying to fight for some land, y'all. Talking about they the only ones trying to claim that they really own some shit and going and taking shit over from other people and shit. Right now, but they're saying they're the administrators of everything. Don't that sound like the doctrine of discovery in full force still? Doesn't it sound? Now look, the United States of America administration, you got to see what they're administering. Now they're administering our properties. To keep it real simple, this is it, y'all. From my research, this is not the 100% truth. My truth keeps growing. I'm learning from different people here and there, right? Just like you, just like everybody, you know. So, and I'm coming up with my perspective. So what I see is the crown never stopped operating. As you can see, the UK runs it. The United States of America, they got independence, but the people who were fighting at that time were the people who used to be indentured servants, okay? And they got the right to manage the land on behalf of the crown here. And the idea that they own it is them taking property. Is really literally called taking, eminent domain. They say that they took the property. Why did they take it? They saying they got the right to take it because everybody who owned it is dead. They're saying everybody, they're claiming that they did this extreme extermination of all the natives and they're no longer alive, and they're using that information, sending it back to who? London and the UK. Why? Because that's holding up the Cesta VK Trust Act. And if you want to know about the Cesta VK Trust Act, it's right. It's very simple. This is just some links. Dang, man. Can we get to the Cesta VK Trust Act? Because it's supposed to be a straight connection here. Let me just Google, bro.
I feel you. You flowing. But what was I about to say?
You
know, and also, although it seems kind of outlandish what you're talking about, I also used to have the same thoughts
right here,
that the United States is a secret commonwealth of Europe, because it does seem that the U.S. has an illusion of power, an illusion of sovereignty. But don't our presidential leaders go and bow down and kiss the ring of the crown as soon as they get elected? Don't they go on a world tour, going to the Vatican, going to the Queen of England or whoever's the ruling power, and they meet up with them all and they bow down and kiss the ring?
Facts. And this is taking this wild, it's time to load, but this is the proof in the pudding, y'all. Yeah. Is right in front of our face.
If anybody wants to look up that act, I'm gonna leave it up to them to look up that act on their own time. We got several people backstage that we got to get to, but before we bring them up, there was a couple more things I wanted you to clarify. What did you mean when you were talking about reparations as an agricultural-based lawsuit with the Department of Agriculture?
Well, that's evidence to see right now too. You could just Google Department of Agriculture reparations. Department of Agriculture. First, you got to know about the system of America. It was agricultural based, how they was going to get the money to send back to the crown. Department of Agriculture reparations. They'll tell you it's very simple. Reparations, agriculture marketing service, right? So remember the public and the private. What you're going to get from public administration is the people who run the common law courts. They're going to tell the common people whatever they got to do to keep the energy down, to not get them to do too much. That's it. They tell you whatever the fuck you need to hear for you not to fucking turn up and take your shit back. Whether you take it back from administrative ways or whatever the Most High put on your soul. Now, reparations right here. It says reparations at who? And this came to my mind because I was in the building, bro, and I just seen the USDA sign there talking about civil rights. I said, civil rights is under the USDA. Why? This is crazy. What is going on? And I just did some research, and it says agriculture marketing service. Reparations is a claim filed with the Secretary of Agriculture for an award of damages against any stockyard owner. So you got to know what a stockyard owner, they managing animals, market agency, sound like selling some people or some animals, or dealer. They got mortgages with these properties under the jurisdiction of the Packers and Stockyards Act of 1921. Let's explain what is going on. Who can file reparations? It says it here, any interested person who claiming harm done by a stockyard owner, market agency, or dealer. But you got to know, let's just break it down because they trying to talk in these words with people, you know, in these legal words.
But when they talk about stockyard and packing, they're talking about livestock, meat, and poultry. They're not talking about slaves, right?
Slaves are chattel property. You got to know that basically.
Well, they were chattel property, but I think that they were long emancipated by the time the Stockyard Act of 1921 came about, right?
Well, emancipation could happen, but you still could act as if you only have certain rights due to contracts that's implied and or expressed. For instance, you could free some people, but there's many statuses of citizenship, as you even bring up. There's many classes of citizenship, you know, and then but what's most important is to know that a contract law is separate from, you know, governments cannot impede on contracts, private contracts. So these slave contracts, they're indentured servitude. Like, you got to work for me for 15 years or 20 years or 30 years, or we own you outright. But it's private contracts, and the people were labeled property, and a mortgage was happening with the people. Like, the people were used as mortgage. You can Google and learn. People take your own time, and you'll learn that these were claims on a body of people, because people were used as collateral for mortgages to do farm property. And the more people you had, the more money you could get, because you could show that you could make the farm more productive. Like, literally, that's what it was all about. Farm business, man. That's just it right there. So
I got you. Well, let's go ahead and shift gears. We got some live callers that have been waiting patiently backstage.
No problem.
We're going to bring them on the order of appearance.
It's just evidence.
First person we have coming from the back to the front is Chief I Am. Chief, where are you calling them from and what's on your mind?
Yeah, peace to you, brothers, man. Peace to the chat, man. I'm calling from the top of the map, Minnesota.
I always forget that there's niggas in Minnesota until you call in.
Shit, you must then watch the riots that kicked off in Minnesota, huh?
Nah. Hey, I'm from the West Coast, so I don't really know much about the Midwest.
The George Floyd riots. You don't remember those? You don't remember that?
I mean, I remember hearing about them, but whenever something's super popular and buzzing like that, I go out of my way to not pay attention to any of the media.
I hear you talking shit, Mike. I feel you talking.
Yeah. Hey, oftentimes I like to see the shit afterwards, like way after the fact, right? Hindsight's 2020. So, like, for example, George Floyd, he's homeboy who got choked out, right?
Yeah, they choked him out, still on his neck.
Yeah, so perfect example. I didn't see the George Floyd footage until 6 months ago.
Damn, that's crazy.
And as soon as I seen the footage, I was like, what was the debate about? I thought maybe he was going to be struggling and they was wrestling with him. Like, no, they had the nigga handcuffed in the cop car and then they pulled him out the cop car. I was like, oh, no. Yeah. So, yeah, I like to watch things way after the fact when all the hysteria and everything's died down so I can just reflect on things. But the one thing that I did see in real time was the Sonia Massey thing, just because I was on the phone with a brother of mine and he was like telling me about it. And I was like, this nigga sounding outlandish. I'm literally trying to like fact check him while I'm on the phone with him. I got him on speaker and I'm like, let me pull up on YouTube where he told what shot her in the face and this nigga tripping. And I watched the video and I'm like, oh word, like that really just happened verbatim. Like she said, I rebuke you, and then the devil shot. Okay,
right.
All right.
Crazy
but we do still know it's a psyops because they released that footage instantaneously. And normally it take a year to 3 years and many freedom of information requests and lawsuits for them to release that shit. So for them to release it like damn near the same night, it felt like that's wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely was part of the election season, no different than it was going on right now. You have this usurping authority that's trying to maintain control, despite the fact that the original people of the land are waking up. So. You know, they're trying to maintain control that all of these things are going to heat up. I anticipate wars, foreign wars. Iran.
Foreign and domestic?
Israel. You got what's going on with Russia. And they're just amping it up because this class of servants that usurp the owners, their time is running up, right? This advent of the internet, the advent of the internet, which they thought was great for them commercially, actually was their demise. And shout out to you for doing your work. Shout out to the brother. I forget your name. What's your name again, his brother?
Kyle, Kevin. Kevin was the Kyle's the name from the Most High.
No doubt, no
His
doubt.
indigenous name is Kyle, and his white name is Kevin. Okay. My white name is Michael, and my indigenous name is Ayohacho.
You know what's crazy about that, Mike? I would say they're both the same, one and the same.
Honestly, especially when you keep on following the tracks, you know, it's just the crown on the east side and the crown on the west side, man.
Like Mikael is the Hebrew name. You feel me? So definitely. But what I wanted to add to the conversation, I wanted, take off my hat to the brother, man. He's definitely doing the work. He's tapped in spiritually to what's going on. If you follow the Golden Brick Road, it definitely started at Rome and it's going to end at Rome. And what I did love about, not to speak too long, but what I did love about what the brother said was that, every angle of attack is necessary, but there's only two outcomes to this, right? We either go to the daddy of the nigga who is ruling over us vigorously and say, hey, look what your servants is doing to us, and he's either going to check that shit or he's not going to check it, and then we only have one alternative. And I know people don't want to hear that because people are comfortable, right? We making our money, we riding our cars, but we are completely compromised. We are completely under the law of usurpation. Everything has been taken from the original people. And I mean governments, churches, organizations, trades, trade routes, customs. When I say customs, I'm not talking about your cultural practices. I'm talking about border protection. I'm talking about what goes in and out of a continent, ingress and egress, right? So when you really do the work on this thing, you'll understand that.
I think we lost him. I don't know what happened.
And he was going in.
He was going good. The trade routes and everything. I said, we had trade routes. We had open trade.
Express.
We was openly trading with the west coast of Africa. They got evidence of gold-tipped spears over here with Native American tribes, and we took corn and stuff over there to Africa. Africa gave us melons, right? Watermelons originate from Africa. Most people don't know that. But we'll see if the brother's able to call back in again. But let's bring up the next caller while we wait. We got Arkel coming from the back to the front. Arkel, where are you calling them from, and what's on your mind?
I'm calling in from Columbia, South Carolina. And I was following what Kevin was saying earlier, and I had just wanted to ask him. I got some other stuff to say, but I just wanted to ask him real quick. So my family member, my ancestor, I think my fourth great grandfather, born in the 1800s, he was actually a slave. He's on the slave schedules. I think it was in the 1950 slave schedule, and it said that his occupation was a farmer and he was a laborer. So I was wondering, is he some type of I know he was, used as property, and I heard what you said with the reparations earlier, but was he like a tax write-off? Is that kind of what you're saying? Is he like some type of tax write-off or something compared to that, basically?
Well, it's again, remember when I say everything is at least 2 levels deep, because you always got the first time something started, like anything, and then you got the time when it was at max capacity and right. At a commercialized point. And as we know with anything in any part of a culture, when it just happened, it's raw. But when it's commercialized, everything different. So that's the same thing with slavery and indentured servitude and farms and plantations. For instance, the first wave of farms and plantations was us handling our business, and us is, we was handling good business with Spain. We was handling good business with ourselves. We, cousins all across the globe, man, still to this day. But we were running the plantations, and plantations was a colony that's an independent colony. Plantation was another word for city, but it was ran by the family. So what I'm saying is sometimes the family would own all of that land, right? The family and work the land, right? And have indentured servitudes. Other people come through to help work the land. That's the same shit you would do now if you had some land. You would be trying to work it. You'd be trying to get some other people to come help you, family, and then if there's some other people, if your family don't work right. So that type of shit was going on in the first wave. Then after that, you know, the American independence and that fight was basically somebody trying to steal your culture. And they trying to make what you do seem bad, and they do it in a bad way to make it as evidence that it's bad. So they start coming through and saying that they are the plantation owners and they taking the land from the royal heirs, and you know, due to a lot of crazy laws they create on their own because you got doctrine of discovery, ancestry KV. But to answer
like the East Indian Company. I know. Okay, yeah. I know.
Just to answer your question straight off, though, just to answer your question straight off, he could have been a property owner. Like, or he could have been a slave, right? Because when them documents was, when I say slave, he could have been part of the family of the property owner. Because more than likely, if you talking about us, come on, man. If we was ever some slaves like that, we would be knowing right now. I truly perceive that most of us, we own them letters, but they was the ones making the documents. You feel me? They were supposed to administer shit for us, bro. Remember, a government just handle your business like you hire an accountant. Remember this shit, we never lost a war. That's why it's still Commonwealth and all of that. We never lost a war, y'all, but we always accepted deals where it seemed like they was going to be doing a whole bunch of good shit for us, and we was going to be having all these great benefits and allowing us to be softer and softer and softer and softer as a people, and soft mean what it sound like.
Yeah. Okay, I feel you. And I also wanted to ask you another question real quick. So do you think one of the ways that we could, you know, win this war, or at least like get more of a stake in the land, is through farming, is through entrepreneurship, but specifically through like agricultural farming and other things like that, and also acquiring land? Or do you think we could do, and I know this panel specifically was talking about a different way for us to get reparations.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I'm listening to your question. I'm listening to your question. Reparations is any and everything that's good for you, man. Everything you got coming your way. That's another definition, right, on a general term. But I would say, again, any and everything is good only when it understands its part in the bigger picture. But if we wanted to understand the goal, let me explain. Any and everything is important because the goal is to be self-sufficient as nations and tribes, and all that work mean is people who organize to handle their business. So in order to be self-sufficient in this day and time, you got to know what the goal is. Everybody don't need or want sovereignty, right? It's okay for a lot of people to be right where they at, just how they get a good ID, bro. Just get any ID in any job for real, bro, and you'll be good. And then there's some people who, like, you know, get you a tribe, join one of the recognized tribes, because that's another level of rights, right, and benefits. And then there's some people, they ain't even cut for nail one of those. It's like, man, you got to be running self-regulated. And then think about it, because I said self-regulated, not necessarily sovereignty, because it's the synonyms. Right. So basically, you could attain your one shot by understanding international systems. If you could have an organization of any kind, whether it's a trust, an unincorporated association, a family tribe, a nation, and you could actually handle your own banking, education, payment rails, which is the key, payment rails, education system, finance system, then that's the whole desire. That's the real goal for everybody. If you don't know, that's really what you're trying to get.
Hold on, real quick. I want to touch on the benefits aspect, though, because what most people don't realize is that when we talk about something like tribal citizenship, especially with a federally recognized tribe, it's kind of a manner of perception, but most people don't realize that that's literally a form of reparations that was owed to some of our ancestors. The Emancipation Proclamation was 1863. That did not free any of the melanated slaves that were held by the 5 quote-unquote civilized tribes. They were not free until the Treaty of 1866. And that treaty said that because those native tribes didn't treat them like how the other slave masters treated their slaves. I mean, these black folks was marrying the tribal members. They spoke the language. They were fully fluent with the culture. So the government said, not only do you have to emancipate these slaves, but you have to give them full citizenship and full benefits of all tribal members. And some tribes said we will, some tribes said we won't. And since then, the freedmen have actually got some of those laws overturned, and now they are recognized as full-blown citizens. But when we talk about some of these benefits, I mean, if regardless of how you feel about the government, if I can get a check or some kind of tangible for something that's owed to my ancestors, I'm gonna take it. And me personally, I'm a member of the Muscogee Creek Nation. Since I've been a member, I got my citizenship in 2001. Since I've been a member, I've received over $20,000 cash. Another example, I'm putting in an application right now. Every year, they send me, and really anybody who's a member of the tribe that has children, they send us a $300 check per year to buy our kids school clothes. It don't matter if you're rich or poor. They don't check your income. These are just benefits that you get earmarked at the federal level because you're a member of the tribe. So I'll take my reparations regardless of, feelings or semantics. I'd rather have some tangibles than not.
This is what I'll say, Mr. Mike, and this is for everybody in the universe, man. Whatever you in this dimension, in this realm perceiving is for you, right? Wherever you set your boundary or your bucket or your basket or your treasure chest and you put your number on it, that's for you, right? So I'm not here to say that's not for you, right? I'm just here to say for us, if we thinking about us, and I'm not even saying just dark people, but for us as beings in this realm who want food, water, shelter, clothing for ourselves and our loved ones, that's the only time when things like this, having your entire self-regulated entire system for community development together. Let me explain why. Because you could get it, and this is no problem, bro. I'm not putting nothing down. Yeah, I'm going to use your example. You can get your $20,000 benefit and your hundreds of dollars a month. Make it $1 million a year. Fuck it. You could get your
free healthcare, free dental, low payment house payment system. Yeah.
I'm not against it. You could get that way. And it comes at that limit because they're managing that for you. It's no problem. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not even being condescending. I'm just here to say, for other people who have different perspectives of themselves and methods and things that they perceive that they are deserving of in this world and capable of accomplishing, then maybe they would need and want the capability of negotiating their own instruments in a system that clears their own notes and bills with the respect of any other nation. You got the right to have your own money system and your finance system and the ability to write, I promise to pay $100 billion and clear that in that system because a negotiation.
You talking about starting your own currency?
Man, listen to what I'm saying.
I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. It sounds like you're proposing starting a new currency.
I'm not proposing nothing. I'm simply saying there's levels to rights. Some people going in it for the right to get 20 bands. Going in it for the right to handle all of their affairs decently and in order.
Sir, it wasn't the right to get 20 bands. It was reparations owed to my ancestors.
Again, I'm not against
That's the distinction.
Again, I'm not even.
Another example I can easily give real quick, if I may, real quick. Another example. Let's say tomorrow the government says, hey, we're going to give $10,000 to all descendants of American slaves. You know what? I'm going to say that's fucked up. That's real low. I'm going to advocate for it to be higher, but I'm going to still go get my $10,000 that's owed to me by way of my ancestors, right?
Well, let me explain something. I'm not against you or your strategy. I'm coming from the perspective. It's not going left, Curtis. This is very important, Curtis. What we're talking about is we have some people, and it's not bad, bro. What you're doing is not bad. I'm not against you. And you can listen, right? What I'm saying is that's good, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with nobody going that route, Curtis. I'm not against that. I'm simply stating that there's other people who want other things. For instance, when it comes to sovereignty and nationhood, right? If you do not have the sovereign right to enforce your own promissory notes internationally according to law, that's a very important right. Let me explain. You don't have that right as an indigenous tribe and as a citizen of indigenous tribe because that specifically is a nation that's domestic and that is under another nation. But when you want to be able to write your own checks, now I'm not against that, but if you want to have the money flow for your family, your activities, then you need your money to be worth money. You need access to the international market systems. You can get health and care and insurance because it's basically just payments. And right now, we're in 2024. We got enough brothers, sisters of all races who understand negotiable instruments, nationhood, and the benefits of these other systems, not just being comfortable.
Hold on, I've got a quick question for you then. A quick question, if I may. So are you saying, let's say hypothetically, let's just round out a number. Let's say you can get federal recognition with the tribe. That tribe just so happens to have a casino. You looking at $100,000 check. Are you saying instead of getting that $100,000 check, you'd rather hold out in the hopes that one day you can start your own federally recognized institution that has its own currency on a global scale?
You know what? First off, I think the way you asking your questions are amazing because it brings out these types of answers I'm going to say here. No, sir, I'm not down that route. What I'm saying right now is according to financial law, anyone who gets either a non-SWIFT BIC number or anyone who has their own registered central security depository, I'm being very specific, have the capability of issuing their own notes and bonds and clearing them in the international market. Let me explain what that means and the effect that has to the tribes. See, some goals we have can't get accomplished by getting handouts from them. Let's explain. Some goals we have.
Real quick. My man Curtis says he's about to dip. Hopefully we'll still be live in an hour. See you, Curtis. And Curtis, before you get out of here, I have to acknowledge you are correct. This is going to go left. And the reason why it's going to go left is because now I'm going to drop a little bit of a Uno reverse card. I'm going to play a play, and this play is going to lead to a checkmate, in my humble opinion, because you can talk all this shit you want, but at the end of the day, you pay taxes to the federal government, don't you?
I don't. And that's a fact, Jack.
You don't pay taxes. You don't pay income tax.
I can prove this because it ain't about, but that ain't no hard thing to do.
Maybe you want to turn off your camera when you say that because that's tax fraud, tax evasion. Wesley just did prison time for that. I mean, sir, are you really telling me you pay zero income tax?
Let me explain. There's many different agencies, organizations, associations, nonprofits, and statuses.
You don't pay no income taxes. What you're saying?
No income taxes. Let me explain.
At all. I'm not talking about tax write-offs. I'm not talking about you got a nonprofit.
Let's explain. I can give you the facts and show you the evidence of how you could do it, especially if you say you're a tribe. Look, state and Medicare taxes, you could get the right to waive those and register with the IRS.
I said not write-offs. I said you pay zero income tax.
There's no need. I'm not under that jurisdiction to pay an income tax.
What jurisdiction are you under?
So okay, again, here he goes. If you start an Illinois incorporation, then you're under the jurisdiction of Illinois. Very simple.
So you got a corporation, an LLC?
No, I mean, I have companies that I operate and own, yes, sir, but those are not me. Like, I got LLCs, I got trusts.
I'm confused. Sir, you know you pay income taxes in one way or another. You might have some good tax loopholes. You might have some trust funds, but you pay income tax.
No, you only pay income taxes if you make money inside of a jurisdiction. I don't make money inside of that jurisdiction. Right now, I'm in a whole other.
So you make no income?
I get compensation, which is a different term. Income specifically is
earnings. You get paid under the table.
Let's explain. Income, technically, in the IRS, is earnings from securities.
If that's the case, why does every regular Joe working a 9-to-5 pay income tax?
They don't.
Then what do they pay?
Some people get paid.
But the regular 9-to-5 worker, you're telling me they don't pay income taxes?
I'm not saying the regular one don't, because you got levels to everything. The regular.
Sir, do people pay income taxes or not?
Some people do, yes.
And what makes you special to where you don't have to pay income taxes? I'm
not special, but there are different agencies, organizations who have different rights, right? So you got an unincorporated association, for instance. If you know what an unincorporated association is, it's something that's not regulated on the state level. So you can have an unincorporated association and have your own rules and regulations for how you go operate. A, B.
Sir, does the IRS know that you owe them money? Is this something that you've discussed with the IRS?
Well, at the end of the day, you can extinguish debts with negotiable instruments. So that's not about that. It's not about that. And this is a part of a conversation that makes it's not even about taxes, bro. Like
it is because you're making the grand claim that you pay zero income tax on some.
It's not a grand claim. Anybody can Google right now. Let me explain. For instance, let's explain this. When you get compensated, right? When you get money for providing a product or service, right? That's what compensation is. When you get money for providing a product or service.
And what product or service do you provide, sir?
You want to know about my business right now?
I just asked you what product. If you asked me that question, I'd say I run a boutique marketing agency. I'm also a genealogist. I also have several sources of revenue from my YouTube channel. There's an answer. So what's your product? What's your service?
Yeah, I did cryptocurrency development a lot. Right now, I am the founder, and this was not my goal. You want to know?
You just said cryptocurrency.
Hold on, I'm the founder of Love Nation. Go to Love Nation.
I wonder if you know that I know who's lying right now. Oh, you got the new Margellas? That's what's up. That's what's up. I see you. That's your BMW? That's nice. That's your girl? Golly. Okay, I see you. But I just want to know one thing. You ready? Why the fuck you lying?
Oh man, it's just jokes. It's just jokes. I got to entertain the people. This is the Roman Coliseum.
I'm like, what you thought you finna have a sweet victim, bro? You can Google the name. I give you Kyle Mansa.
No. I don't negate that you have this business. I just find it funny that you're claiming you don't pay taxes.
Look, I don't pay taxes.
You outside of the jurisdiction, and when I ask what you do, you say cryptocurrency, the most shady, the most non-regulated scam-like thing you can be involved in. You might as well say you're an NFT artist. You might as well say you produce NFT art.
Can I be real with you, bro? This is basically a form of ignorance, the way you're coming. And
I know. I'm just being ignorant. I need to understand and overstand and understand I think
it's for entertainment, and it's okay. But I want the public to know that I think that he's smarter than what he's saying. He's just saying that for entertainment. Because at the end of the day, bro, conversations about tax are about the status of how you make money. So I could be making my money in a trust foreign jurisdiction, which we do, and I'm not even in what you call the United States of America. I could be doing that.
Where you at?
I could be making money.
This nigga Tether or something?
No,
you in the Congo?
United States of America is a corporation.
Nigga, are you in a state right now? Are you in a state? Are you in a state? Am I able to drive to where you are in a reasonable amount of time? Where are you?
Can I be honest with you, bro? If I wasn't, that's a good thing.
I thought you told me you in Illinois, my guy.
I said I'm from Illinois. The first thing I talked to you, if you read and listen to the whole conversation and start from the beginning, I told you I'm in Brazil. I'm having a nice time too.
Oh, okay. Now it's like, okay. Now this is way different conversation.
You think I'm against you?
No, I don't think you're against me.
You think I'm against Native Americans?
This enlightens us more. You're an expat. You live over in Brazil.
I'm not an expat.
Of course, you're going to be able to
put labels on me because I travel.
Have to pay no taxes to the federal government of the U.S.
Let me explain something.
You live in Brazil. Come on,
bro. Let me explain something.
You live in a whole different country.
But let me explain something to you. I just came over here 2-3 months ago, bro. I'm vacationing, and I'm not a sovereign citizen. Listen, this is what's strange. You think that I'm saying something ignorant. All I'm telling you is, even if you're a Native American,
I've never said anything that you've promoted today was ignorant, but you have said that I'm coming from a place of ignorance. So
I said it's ignorance for you to perceive.
When I haven't thrown one, I've never said you're ignorant. I never said you're coming from a place of ignorance. I think you're projecting a little bit on that one.
Ignorance, when I specifically said it, I said that for you to immediately try to criminalize the character of someone because they do crypto is crazy.
Bro, it's just a historic fact. I've been a legitimate businessman for over a decade now. You're talking to someone who's been a successful entrepreneur since I was 17 years old. So I am very knowledgeable about
difference between me and you right
the
now,
origins of it, everything in between.
Hey,
I read the papers. I know about it all. Come on now.
Guess what?
We all know it's the wild, wild west, and it's the rich man's paradise and the scammer's paradise, right?
Y'all brothers, can I be real with you, bro? Have a great time believing that, my nigga. I ain't got no problem with you having that belief and still being who I am.
I know. We just have different opinions on crypto. That's fine. We can agree.
I don't have no opinion on crypto.
The next caller we're bringing from the back to the front is Coconut Grove. Coconut Grove, where you calling in from, and what's on your mind?
Hi, I'm calling in from Connecticut. I wanted to address the topic about when, unfortunately, some of the burdens that I see with such a large landmass, if you really, you would have, it's easier said than done, but when you're the host of a nation, that means you become responsible for everybody that's in it. Love it, leave it, it is what it is. Unfortunately. That's one of the main unique problems.
What was that?
with this.
What was that?
What I'm saying is the host of a nation to expect the guest that comes in, like I might give you an example about Ellis Island, New York during the 1900s. When people came over in these little boats, it took a while to them to teach people a trade, to house, to feed your workers. Then eventually, yeah, they might return the favor by being productive, but that's there's more risk as an employer when you bring people onto your company. And I'm sure someone like yourself knows what that's like. That's
Yes, I
one of
do.
many things that comes with being the host. Unfortunately, when you're the host, as a leader, you're going to take 99 and then some of the blame, but very little credit when those under you become grooms for success.
And
That is the biggest
what are your
burden.
thoughts on reparations?
But also, when you look at fiat currency, what is it backed by? Are we backing it by tangible resource like the population itself, or is it backed by the accepted delusion of the public? Because when you look at a dollar bill, it says this is for all legal tender public, all debt legal public and private. What is the
Yes,
US dollar backed?
you're right. Fiat currency used to be backed by minerals, and now our fiat currency in particular is backed by the might of the U.S. government and military.
But the government itself, what is a government and how do you, and you think about it, any nation is only as strong as the health of everybody in it. So when you really start to look at things, I mean, it's realistically
I mean, I'd
the
have
only
to
thing.
disagree. We see most African countries are shitholes. Their politicians, their political elite are wealthy, vacationing in London and
I'm
America while
saying
the masses
fiat.
starve. So I don't think
Fiat
you
is,
have to have, a good equilibrium or, equality of wealth in order for your country to have wealth.
but like one of the main things I could talk about when it comes to my ancestors, when it came to this country, mind you, when it comes to the Federal Reserve is less than 120 years old, less than 200 even. The fact is, the Federal Reserve didn't go public till 1913, but by way of Thomas Jefferson. But also, when you peel back even more layers, the very fact that the U.S. dollar the Federal Reserve was created for a reason. The history is every tribe, every state had its own currency. Basically, every state was a country of its own throughout much of America's history, contrary to how much is hidden historically. Those type of old books are very much well kept and hidden. You're not finding them in the urban public libraries. You'll find comic books, but you won't find those kind of. That's why Thomas Jefferson and his people wanted the Federal Reserve to have one currency for the country. The part that really got fouled up was making it international available.
I see, I see. And real quick, we've got another guest we're going to bring up. We also got Tyrone in the building. Tyrone, where are you calling in from and what's on your mind?
What's good, bro? This is Tyron Leung from Charlotte, North Carolina. I had a few questions for the brother that you brought on today. What's the difference between what do you say?
Tyrone, why are you wearing a D-list superhero mask?
Oh, it's my get up. I'm about to debate YK on the Tim, so I usually wear this mask whenever a Pan African makes an excuse to cam up and stuff.
Joined looking like a Timu Avenger. What is going on? Damn, he said my secret identity will never be exposed.
Yeah, because Pan Africans won't. Pan Africans won't debate me, so I compromise myself and wear a mask whenever they ask me to cam up.
You know, we can still know what your face look like just because we can't see your cheekbones, right? Like we see everything but your cheekbones.
Yeah. Well, I wore this disguise on Sinetta and it worked.
My nigga Curtis said he a teenage mutant Tyrone. This nigga got a rat as a sensei. Oh shit. And yes, it kind of does look like Elastigirl's mask. That's right. Damn, the $5 Ninja Turtle. Why y'all gotta roast mans like this? All right, Tyrone, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You have the floor.
But I got a question for the brother. What's the difference between sovereignty and what he said, regulate? Could you explain that?
Okay. Well, I could explain it with their terms, or I just give it to you simple. Sovereignty is the ability, and they're kind of synonyms. Yeah, you could be self-regulated and not be a sovereign, but all sovereigns are self-regulated. So self-regulation is the ability to have your own laws, rules, and regulations, how you're going to handle things. If something goes bad, what you're going to do. If something goes good, what you're going to be doing. How you're going to hold people accountable to the laws inside of that company or that society, as well as the international laws that they may have to be subject to, as well as the national laws, as well as tax laws when they have to be accountable to those, and other types of laws, right? So self-regulatory would be taking all things into consideration for your agency or your group and saying we're going to regulate ourselves. Now, sovereignty, to be sovereign, that's a term of nationality in the law of nations. It's a term really cosmic in the cosmic realms as well. It's a self-regulated entity that also enforces its rights to maintain and oversee specific landmass without the interference of another agency. So you can be self-regulated, right, but still have to answer to a Supreme Court.
Right. So what do you mean by like reparations is an agricultural thing? Didn't reparations also include like things like Jim Crow and the destruction of Black Wall Street?
Respect, and this is really where steel sharpens steel. Kevin, that was another point that you were kind of incorrect on, because while you did show the documentation where the USDA uses the word reparations, they were referring to the Packers and Stockyards Act of 1921 that you cited yourself. And that act was about livestock, meat, and poultry industries. It was to protect people from unfair, deceptive, and monopolistic practices, right? It had nothing to do with black folks picking cotton.
So again, that's when I say to you, I think it's just a matter of how you want to go at conversations, because I also said that the word reparations has a more
Nigga, it's on Google. It ain't the way I want to go at it. It's on Google.
No, hear me out. Hear me out.
Hold on. Hey, I'm just reading it real quick. The Packards and Stockyards Act, 1921, passed by Congress to promote fair competition and practices in livestock, meat, and poultry industries. To protect from unfair, deceptive, and monopolistic practices.
The thing about it is
that ain't got nothing to do with black folks.
But it does, though, because if you really remember, some black folks, white folks, and yellow folks working on the farm were categorized as animals, and you could do that by searching.
We were not categorized as animals in 1921, were we?
Can I be honest with you? It's not about if you're categorized as it then. It's about if you acting like it and the people want to enforce it like it. Also, again, remember
what the hell does that? Oh my God!
What it means?
Like that, so I'ma keep lying like that. I love when you lying like that. So I'ma keep lying like
that. Hey, bro, I'm fucking with you 1,000,000,000%. Remember, bro, like I'm trying to come out with your information is good. Look, reparations in its general context simply means getting things you deserve. So anything you deserve and you collecting it, that's reparations. However,
the only way you tied the U.S. Department of Agriculture to reparations is because they used it on their website when referencing the Packards and Stockyards Act of 1921, and that act had nothing to do with slaves.
Well, if you want more information, just Google chattel mortgages during slavery and how people utilize the property as like human beings, the property that they purchase as collateral for mortgages in agriculture. Google that, because all I'm trying to tell you is whether or not the Packers and Stock Cards Act was specifically talking about black, yellow, or purple people. I'm saying that humanity at some times was dealt with like property on agriculture, and there's mortgages.
I got a question. Hold that thought. How does that relate to the Southern Claims Commission? Because that relates towards compensating people that joined the Union Army that were a part of the Confederate Army at first. These were black people that owned property. You had people that were slave owners, bought their own freedom and joined the Confederacy, and the Union Army, to break the Confederacy, they put out like a Southern Claims Commission to give and compensate people that joined the Union Army. But once that came out, a lot of people were denied like their restitution. They gave reparations to the Confederate Army and former slave owners that were white, but they confiscated all of that money that was supposed to go to black folks to the Union Army. So where does that lie within what you're presenting?
See, everything ain't just as simple. Everything just.
Hey, Mike, is this an open panel right now? Or are we one at a time type shit? What's going on?
Yeah,
this open panel.
Wait. So real quick. What we'll do is Kevin respond to what Tyrone said real quick, and then there's going to be an open panel, and everybody can just interject whenever they want to.
All right. So look.
And what was the question again?
How does
the unions who switch sides? So this is how I look at it.
I'm talking about the Southern Claims Commission.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Can I be honest with you, brother? Everybody fights different battles, and that's not my battle. I can
just say you don't know, nigga. Just say no. I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not. Well, that's how I answer the question.
Well, it pertains to people that fought in the Civil War.
Okay, I understand Civil War.
It's compensating black Americans.
That's not your fight, and you a nigga.
No, understand what I mean. Okay, if we're in a war, it's called a war, meaning a whole bunch of fights are going on at the same damn time. Everybody ain't fighting the same fight, my man. And I'm not.
It is the same fight, though.
So listen to what I meant by that. Listen, I said a war means a whole bunch of fights happening at the same time, brother. You might not be fighting my fight while I'm fighting my fight.
While we was fighting to get free from the plantation, he was just working for Massa on Candyland. He was like, "No, that ain't my fight."
No, bro, that ain't what I mean, my nigga.
Hold on, real quick. Chief
wants
to hop in. Chief, dropped off. He has some technical difficulties. Let's let Chief have the floor uninterrupted for a few minutes.
Yeah. Chief, I am, brother. Peace to you, brothers. Peace to the chat. Peace to the sisters.
A slice of cake.
There's different roles. That's all I was meant by that.
Listen, man, this is the reality of the situation. When they took this shit from y'all, they didn't petition no high court, B. It's called usurpation. That shit is by force, right?
Literally.
Right. So when they were freed from their servitude, they came out like monsters and they took shit. They didn't petition no high court. They didn't create no trust, no non-incorporated business organization, no motherfucking. They didn't create LLCs and try to create wealth. No, that ain't how it works. Like force and blood. That until we talking about what actually happened, we gotta go Mike's way. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Get your tribal membership, because this is the fact, bro. You're talking about multiple layers of governments worldwide that were in a period of 100 years taking over, were usurped from one people to another. You're not. This wasn't no shit that just happened in like 3-4 years. This shit they've been at this shit for a while. So when we talking about what you can do with a negotiable, nigga, you honoring no negotiable instruments. You think you was honoring negotiable instruments from them when you had them in captivity, brother? Brother Kevin, don't smile. Answer my question, bro. When we had them in captivity, you think we was honoring them trying to formate their own motherfucking banks? I can't hear you, brother. You muted.
I would say I have a different. I respect your perspective, and it is a true perspective, right? Force is the ultimate law in this world. I respect that truth. Also, I would say people accomplished a lot of the same things in many ways, brother. So I would say I don't know, right? I don't know.
Hold on. Let's walk back there. Dumb Diverses, 1452, Pope Nicholas V. What did he say? What did he authorize the newly found Christian pale nations to do worldwide?
Whatever the fuck they wanted to do, man.
Time. One mic.
Discovery type shit.
Time out. Silencio. Chief, you're dropping some gems. I'm not privy to this information. Can you say that again slowly and clearly? It was who? A Pope when?
My apologies, brother. Pope Nicholas V of the Vatican, the year 1452. He directed the edict, which is called Dum Diversus, and it was an edict sent to all the newly found Christian nations to go out and pillage the world and bring back all of the assets, all of the titles of nobility, all the titles to land, to the.
And this is what they also refer to as the doctrine of discovery.
Yeah,
exactly.
Man. What you're saying is real, bro. Like force and military might has been in full effect. Wars is really still happening. What you're not, see, I'm not against you nor him.
No. Hold on. Let's not deflect with this whole I'm against. I'm not against. The brother Chief made a good point. He said, "Why you gonna talk about all these treaties and corporations and trusts and shit when the only thing these pink-skinned pale faces honor is force?"
First off, I'm going to disagree. I disagree. Let me explain what I'm trying to explain. Right now, you can Google. See, what's the goal? First, you got to have your goal. What is your goal? Because what's your goal? Food, water, shelter, clothing, housing for who? Do you think everybody who look like you supposed to be freedom around this bitch? Do you think it's supposed to be no rules, laws, and judgment?
Every advancement we have ever got as a people has been through force, whether soft force.
I'm not against
force. Hard pressure, if you will. Civil rights, we were boycotting. We were fighting for legislation. We were marching. Before the Civil War, there was many Indian wars where we were revolting and slaying plantation owners and forming bands with the Seminoles and the Gullah Geechee. So yes, force.
I'm not against force. I don't know why y'all think that I'm saying some different type of shit just because I'm saying specifically what I'm saying.
You talking about some contract, treaty, trust type shit.
Well, let me tell you this. You talking about getting the ID, my nigga. I was on your conversation. Look at the conversation. Look at the title. The title is, can we get this shit done without Uncle Sam? That's an administrative process. You getting genealogy. You registering with a tribe, my nigga. Don't be talking against negotiable instruments when that's how you pay your bills every day. A promissory note is the United States dollar. That let's just be real. You can't be trying to act just maybe it's entertainment for you when I say something that's not what you say, to just think that I'm saying that I'm against you.
You're understanding where I'm coming from. I understand we all follow contracts and covenants and codes and restrictions and this fiat currency and blase. But when we talk about reparations, you keep talking about some jurisdiction type going.
I think that y'all not comprehending that
sovereignty-esque conversations.
No, that's not it.
Is just mentioning that everything we've ever got has come from force, not from contract, right?
Did you forcefully go run up in there with a gun and get your ID that I got a consultation with? And I'm not against your strategy at all. But did you go with force and kill a nigga for that?
I was forced.
People paying $50 to go sign up for the fucking force with you, my nigga.
I gotta mute you since you don't know how to wait your turn on my platform all of a sudden. I was forced by the U.S. government to get a federally recognized ID card to be acknowledged as an American Indian. And that was forced on us by war, conflict, bloodshed. So yes, force. Once again, force. But what I want to hear from real quick is Chief, because Chief really hasn't had that much to say. So, Chief, go ahead.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity, brothers. All I'm saying is this, man. At some point, we have to come back to reality. And reality is we have been conquered on our own land. And that shit didn't happen with a motherfucker trading muskets for beer skins. I mean, what the fuck is the skins that they say they traded with the niggas up north?
Beer skin.
Yeah. No. What happened was these Slavs were released, and it started over there, and they took over England, Ireland, and Scotland. They just like St. Patrick did. He raided the snakes of Ireland, right? The same shit happened in England, right? The Romans was going against the Stuarts. The same shit happened in Germany. I can keep going. It didn't happen.
I don't know why y'all talking to me like I don't know that there's war happening now and has always been happening. I'm not
talking to you. I'm talking for the people in the third row, brother. I know you.
Okay, bet. I fucks with you.
I know you definitely understand this. I'm not saying that at all.
But at the same time, I do still have to push back on you making that charged statement. Well, hey, I didn't have to use force to get my citizenship. Some members of my tribe did. That the Treaty of 1866, don't interrupt. The Treaty of 1866 is what said that all the slaves had to get tribal citizenship as reparations. And my tribe was one of the tribes that said, no, we're not going to give the freedmen shit. And the freedmen by force had to go to Congress and other officials to rally to get that change. And now the freedmen get citizenship, I think, since 2018. So once again, some people do have to use methods of force.
Hey man,
you're on mute, brother. You have to unmute yourself, Kevin. We can't hear you.
That's why I say I keep reiterating the fact that in a community, all things are a go. All options should happen with the understanding of what role they play in relation to the other things. It's like having a military and having a legal system. Why have a judge if all you're gonna do is go blow shit up? Why have forms if all you're gonna do is go use money, negotiable instruments? You feel me? I'm not, when I bring up a negotiable instrument, I'm not taken away from any other form of commerce or business. I'm just saying for sovereignty, the way that we talking about, like for real, all these things must be done. Everything.
That's why I disagree with you totally. The nigga in America is not sovereign. Sovereignty is the nigga in America is not sovereign.
Exactly. I'm saying I'm not saying he is.
And the idea that the nigga in America can be sovereign without taking back what was taken from him, that I'll be honest with you. And everything you're saying is right and exact. I will even go even further and pull up the definition of goyim according to the Jewish people, which means livestock, right?
Fact.
To back you up, because there can't nobody connect those dots for you. I'll go that far and show, because the Jews run the banks. The Jewish people, the Ashkenazis run the entire goddamn planet. And you could call them the synagogue of Satan. You could call them the people of King Balut. You know what I mean? You could call them whoever you would like to call them, but they run shit, and they did it by force.
Yep.
Facts. And there's no hate speech. This is history.
When they went into England first, they didn't come in there asking for shit. They came in taking shit. The nigga said, "Oh, these motherfuckers is for real."
No, it's very serious. Taking.
You gotta do something with their ass, but it wasn't happening fast enough. It wasn't, and then they spread it, went to Scotland, right? Right, and then it engulfed off of Great Britain was the triune, right? England, Ireland, and Scotland, right? Which was unified under King James, right?
Facts.
It didn't matter. What did they do? They tried to kill King James. Right?
They were turning kingdoms into republics.
Why did they try to kill King James?
They turning kingdoms into republics and taking our land all over the world.
Hold on, I'm asking Chief a question. Why did they try to kill King James? You talking about King James of the Bible, right?
The one you call, yes, the one you call King James. Well, that's what they were doing.
And why did they try to kill him?
They definitely tried to kill him on more than one occasion.
But why?
Because he represented the aristocracy of the Negro bloodline that ran the planet. The business, the banking.
Are you saying that King James was a black man?
Absolutely.
Oh, I never heard that one before.
You haven't?
No, I never heard that before. So the man who's responsible for butchering up the Bible is a black man.
I wouldn't say he butchered the Bible, brother. I think that's an
I don't think knowing that the King James is a black man is relevant to us getting reparations. If I may cut in.
Very much so is.
If you're going to get anything in America, it's going to be restitution. It's not going to be reparations.
That's a key fact.
It's not going to be reparations. It's going to be restitution.
And at the end of the day, you got, like he
but
said,
still, reparations are old as well, not just restitution. Because a lot of
reparations mean to repair a nation.
Yes, it is. And we had our own nations.
Hold on.
Yeah, they call it First Nations, right?
Are we?
If you're saying you're an indigenous American, they call themselves First Contact Nations, right?
Indigenous is anybody who's born somewhere.
Some of them call themselves the Choctaw Cherokee.
No, they call themselves as a collective. Hold on. As a collective, they call themselves what? First Contact Nations. Am I right, Mike?
They do. It's in more modern times, just like how some people want to play semantics over Native American versus Aboriginal versus Indigenous. Modern day, quote unquote, Native Americans have been adopting the term First Nations people.
So, yeah, we are under a nation, right? First contact. We were the first people that were contacted by the Europeans and called what? Indians, right? Or Negroes.
Yep.
These are interchangeable definitions. And
Zorro. I think you do look like Zorro.
Y'all gotta start with the cap. Either y'all gonna be 14th Amendment citizens, or y'all gonna join the native, a recognized, federally recognized tribe. But
guess what?
You need us holding up powwows and putting together paperwork. That shit ain't working, man.
Actually, it does, because Mike. Hold on. Actually, it does, because you have some Black Americans that had their own casinos that were not supported by the Black community, such as the Majestic Star. You had Foxwoods with Negro ownership that was up in Pequot territory. You had Green Track County Casino in Alabama that Senator Scott Beeson said that those people look like Aborigines. He was correcting somebody under wiretap, Benjamin Lewis, calling them Indians, and he said no, they're Aboriginals. But a lot of Black Americans didn't know nothing about that until African Americans Ain't African made it viral.
So you saying until that went viral, it was a group of niggas in America who knew that they was Indian?
Yes, we have several Black Americans a part of tribes.
Hold on, it's a group. It's also a group of niggas in America who believe that they colored. It's also a group of niggas in America who think that they African Americans, and y'all niggas is talking about reparations. What it sounds like is we are dealing with an identity crisis, right? And we need to unify before we ask for anything.
Yeah, you know what? I have to say something.
We can prove who we are.
My man said a great point, fellas. Let's be real here. What he said is
real quick, Kevin. I want Arkel to jump in. Arkel hasn't spoken in a while. It sounded like you were trying to say something. What's that, Arkel?
Oh yeah, I said that, like, sure, a lot of people do have identity crisis here, but like we got to understand why. One of the main reasons why people have identity crisis is they don't even know who like their fourth grandmother or grandfather is. I just started doing my genealogy. I figured out that like my family is from like descended from slaves. My grandmother's over here. She's like kind of more of like she kind of sort of looks like a Navajo Indian, and she's talking about, oh, a lot of our family is white. No, they're like pitch fucking black. The only reason why I know that is because I did my genealogy. Now, you do have people talking about being colored. You do have people talking about being African. You do have people talking about being like Egyptian, but until they do their genealogies, they don't know. And that shit gives people power. Like knowing and learning who the fuck you are, that shit's giving you power. You don't have to walk out into the world alone and go over to some white people and you're like, oh, I'm like them now. No, that's like a fucking that's like these weird ass niggas that like raise a cat to be a fucking dog or something. Like that's how identity crises are made. People don't know who the fuck they are. They have to learn through Freedman Road. They have to learn through the fucking Native American Road, the Cherokee, the Choctaws, all that different shit. I'm doing that right now. I'm seeing a lot of my ancestors. Their names are in there. The Johnsons' names are in there. I'm just trying to pinpoint, the years and everything like that. Like, I know who my family is now. That shit gave me power. That's all I'm saying.
Shit still sound like you coming out of a state of confusion, but shout out to you.
I don't believe that's
How is it a state of confusion because it's attaching you to a nation?
Time. One mic. Let's clarify this. What point did he just make that you think he sounds confused on?
I said it sounds like he's coming out of a state of confusion.
And what did he say to make you think that way?
Shit, that he's just now doing his genealogy. Why didn't he know it? Why didn't his forefathers and foremothers give him his genealogy written down in the Bible?
Because they're
hold on, wait a minute. Time out. As a full-time genealogist, I can tell you that people come into information at different times. I mean, since I started doing genealogy consultations, a month and a half ago, I've literally met with over 80 people, some of which are 80 years old, 70 years old, late 50s, early 40s. I didn't get my citizenship and do my genealogy until I got it in 2021. So what if I'm 29, about to turn 30? Back in 2021, I was 26, 27. So, I mean, we all come into the information at a different point in time. I'm not going to shit on anybody because they didn't know since they were born that, that they were Aboriginal. I mean, it's up to us to now teach the next generation. For example, my 5-year-old son has tribal citizenship and all the benefits, and he's going to be raised knowing about his Aboriginal lineage, but not all of us are that privileged.
Right. And can I also answer Chief's questions too? Like real quick, what he just said, like why they don't specifically know, and I'll answer that real quick. So I do actually have a family Bible with some of their names on it. My great grandmother was born in 1918. My grandmother was born in 1941. Most of the reason why they didn't know is because their elders were dead, because they were slaves. They worked their ass off to the bone. They died off. Like a lot of them might have been in like foster care, or their grandmothers was taking care of them because their mom had to go somewhere else and work, bring home a meal or bring home money, stuff like that. My grandmother worked on a sugarcane farm. She has like diabetes now because they worked on a sugarcane farm, and they got like a bunch of fucking bad blood pressure problems now. This is the shit that happened in my family. Most of my elders are just dead. So of course I have to go through, do my genealogy. I have to figure out who the hell I am. And then I'm like, okay, now I have power. Now I can't let none of these niggas tell me nothing. I'm not confused anymore. I'm never going to be confused again. And, before these weirdo niggas start to like burn the census in the 1800s and all this other weirdo shit, we need to get that shit done now, because they're going to start doing that shit in the future. Even with the reparations claim, they're trying to blur the line with the reparations claim. If you read the Bible, it specifically says one of the problems that the Jews had was with what? Sexual immorality. They're trying to blur the line in reparations. They're trying to bring, whether it's African migrants over, whether it's like Latinos that have nothing to do with slavery FBAs, they're trying to bring these niggas over so they can have sex with us and blur the reparations line. That's why we need to figure this out.
Hey man, that's all super dope. I'm not trying to be the asshole, but I will be the asshole because y'all need one in the goddamn chat, right? Let me ask y'all a question real quick and just keep it above. If you were a nation that went into another nation to take it over, what would you do to them? Would you give them all jobs? Would you change their goddamn identity 6 times, right? Would you take over their crops, their tobacco, the Great Cotton Exchange, which is at Muscogee?
To cut your question simple, basically they use violence.
Yeah, and I'd actually.
Wait.
Wait. What I would do?
Let
me let my plane.
And I'd like to answer as well. Hold on. So I'm answering, then Arkel can answer, and everybody else can provide the answer. Okay. If I was a foreign nation taking over another foreign nation, I would oppress them and subjugate them as much as they will allow, to the point where it is no longer profitable for me to do so.
Okay, and something.
It turns out into a 3-second.
Wait. Something else I would do, and you could argue a lot of shit like this might have happened during history, and this is something else that Kevin said earlier that I agree with, especially with the East India Company. What could happen is they could come through, quote unquote, cause a natural disaster like a bombings or like some type of mysterious fire. And what they can do is they can start to co-opt specific leadership roles. So what I mean by that is banks, insurance, like they could do some slimy ass shit and take over, and that's another way that could work. And then you would never know the fucking difference because everybody in that era is dead, and that's exactly what's happening now.
Hey man,
See,
this shit, this shit sound like to me. Y'all need to get Mike's $50 genealogy course and get y'all
until Friday, bro.
Kevin had his consultation earlier this morning. Okay, he already did it.
So I got a question for this antagonist. Why don't you give $700 to Rick Kittles for him to lie to you about what African tribe you want to be from?
Why do you think that I'm from Africa?
Because why are you up here being an antagonist?
Because you're being disingenuous. You're talking about all of the things that
How are we being disingenuous?
I'm about to tell you, brother. You are over here crying. You are singing to the choir, bro. You have been conquered on your own land. You don't even control cotton no more. You don't.
So has Africans. Africans have been conquered.
Hold on. So you telling me your forefathers and foremothers gave tobacco in exchange for, and now we crying that they had.
Yes, Negro. You had Indians sell other Indians into slavery. You had Negroes do commerce, or Indians do commerce with white folks, and got us in this predicament because they wanted trinkets.
Niggas is not doing commerce. Niggas is the commerce. Do you understand that? What I'm talking
Yes, you did, bro. You had blacks. Hold on, because you think that the word slave automatically means a Negro. When a slave, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You exclusively think that all slaves were from Africa when that's not true. On top of that, everybody was not a slave. You had free Negroes at the time during the chattel slavery. You had Moors go in and help white people colonize Indians. You had white people take Indian slaves and turn them against their own people and made them into soldier slaves. You then had free black people before the date of 1865 before 1830, already free, buying their own freedom and becoming slavers, or just moving up north and telling people to move to Africa.
That's right.
You know what I find very ironic about your soliloquy? If you just named...
That's history. That's not a soliloquy.
No.
That's history.
Listen what I mean by being conquered. You just named 5 different demographics of the same motherfucking people, bro. They're all the same people.
We're the same color.
No. Okay. All right. So you don't know enough history. So what I'll do is I'll mute until you maybe dive into some better history. This is crazy. We need to try and start taking action. Shout out to Mike. You taking action. Niggas think I'm the asshole. I'll be the asshole. Hey, Mike, when you get a chance, dive into Smoke Signal or DJ Cut. We would love to have you over there dropping these jewels, big. Straight up, you too, Kevin.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime. Link up
and
with
every
me.
other brother on the chat when you get a chance, bro. We real talk.
Find a way to link up with you.
I fuck with you, bro. I don't see you as an antagonist.
Let me say what I see, if you don't mind, man.
Listen, if our resident anti-hero vigilante says that he's an antagonist, okay.
Hey, there you go. Thank you, Mike. I named myself. You got it. What you said, brother? What you was about to say? The brother's about to say something.
You know, it's all a matter of perspective. On some perspective, the fight for identifying ourselves as anything is the opposite fight of being spiritually free. At some point, it's a whole different fight. Yet, in the fight, if we talk about the fight or the war or whatever, of identifying ourselves in a certain way so that we could live a certain way, I'm here to say something that is a conclusion that I've come to, and I don't recommend it for anybody because I see the effects. Yet I would tell you what my conclusion has been and where I'm at. I'm at the conclusion where the past matters less than the future, and what the goal is to learn about all of that so that we could design our proper futures, to walk into those and spend more time speaking of and designing and imagining that future. Because what I truly perceive is, no matter what timeline we talking about and who we was and what we labeled and what reparation, what we gonna get from anybody, I think the fact of the nature of speaking of what we're going to get from external forces more than what we're going to develop from ourselves is a sign of weakness. And I'm not saying that I'm us when I say that. I'm not saying I'm you, or I'm not saying we in the same family or tribe, y'all. I'm not assuming that just because I'm dark skinned and y'all dark skinned and we agree and think that we want to live and be in the same society, because that's the reason why there was thousands and thousands of tribes. There was families. We agree to live a certain way. So what I truly perceive is the art of nationality, the art and the science of social compacts, of identifying who you are, how you really want to live, and what type of people you really want to be around. That is the science to allow us to even utilize our perspectives now. I don't think our perspectives are best utilized with identifying and trying to agree or disagree on what happened in the past, but we can look at anything. And I think I know our energy is best utilized at defining what our futures are and how they are to be accomplished with all of the laws, rules, regulations, and forces that's capable of being utilized. And if you don't want to have that conversation, you're not part of my family and my tribe, period. Literally. It don't matter your color or your race or your creed or what we agree on. Because if we don't agree on that, you ain't part of my family and tribe anyway.
I was gonna say real quick, I hear what you're saying, and I do agree with a lot of what you just said. But I do think like the past is as important as the future.
It's
important because we're the end result of the past leading up to the future. So
I think it's about how you look at spirituality. I don't perceive that I'm from that. No.
I feel what you're saying. I'm just
saying
in
the past they was whooping our ass and they whooping our ass now.
I don't perceive whoever.
Okay, well, tell me specifically what's a good system or like what's a good way to overcome a lot of this. Like one of the ways that I want to like help us FBAs out is making land more affordable. If you go on the internet right now, you look up land, bro, these motherfuckers are charging $1 million to $4 million for like sometimes 6 acres, 10 acres, 40 acres. If niggas are sitting over here saying
I know land that's like affordable to like thousands of dollars, bro, out here in the Carolinas.
See, the fact that we talking about buying land, the fact that we talking about buying land show that ain't no benefit to the tribal shit y'all talking about.
Actually, it is.
What'd you just say?
He said it's not a benefit towards tribal citizenship just buying some land. For one, that makes no sense whatsoever because, for one, having yourself attached to an indigenous tribe gives you benefits. It gives you.
First off, you don't understand what I mean. What I mean is you have to use your money.
Tribes federally recognized by getting land, having a stake on that land. Like, bro, if I'm gonna use this as an example. If,
bro, it's
like,
your land.
Listen. If the Cherokee Nation, like if a specific part of the Cherokee Nation is not federally realized, right, and you don't get benefits, you don't get a check, you don't get any other shit. I'm using this as an example, right? If you go out there, buy land in that area, do your freedom roll, do your census, you know for a fact you have the blood quantum, and you post it, you're like, hey, all these people who share the same blood quantum and all this stuff with me, come to this land, I have it bought, we can keep expanding the shit. You can then, because you own land, you own property, you can then start to create businesses like a farm, you could do agriculture and all this other different shit. Then you could start to go, to Congress or wherever you need to go to start to get the Cherokee tribe federally recognized. That's a
trust.
At least. Yeah, that's a start at least. Like, you're not just gonna sit on your ass in an apartment and just do that shit then, are you? Like, you don't own shit.
Look at the example of Bruce's Beach. Remember what Bruce's Beach owners had to do? They had to give it up because they couldn't do anything with the land. They just bought some land, but it was just sitting there stagnant because there's no property, there's no people coming in giving money and doing commerce through it. So what use is land if you can't do anything with it to expand with economy or whatever you're trying to do?
It's, unusable. Unusable land. Yeah, exactly.
No, we have to stop this as a people, bro. The outlier is not the rule. The outlier is not the rule. Just because you can identify one situation where it's beneficial to your emotional standpoint does not make
that's not an emotional standpoint.
Listen to me, brother. The rule is, this is the rule. This is the rule of the Ashkenazis, that they came and took your shit. What you gonna do about it?
Okay.
Back for them?
Well, you literally can't fight them physically because they got the manpower and the weapons.
I didn't think this.
So you gonna have to do it by peaceful means.
What?
This guy, everybody is kind of, listen, if you already out, if you saying we can't do no military shit, then you ain't gonna see what you looking for is not what everybody ain't talking about the same shit. Everybody don't got the same goals, brother.
Black people became a militia tomorrow, bro.
Well, you ain't got no military system. You ain't got no police force. You ain't got no criminal justice system to punish these people. So you're gonna have to go through their courts by their means. You're gonna have to go to the Fed recognized people and challenge them on their biased viewpoints, kicking you out of their enrollment. That's what you have to do.
I hear what you're saying. It's annoying to have to go through federal shit and state. It's really fucking annoying. I hear what you're saying, bro. I know how annoying that shit is. Going through the federal, going through the state. We're human beings. We should just be able to have these things by the land without going through this other bullshit. Like, I hear what you're saying.
We hear what you're saying, but it's what you're saying is some black identity extremist shit, and that could get Mike TV put on the FBI watch list.
I don't think nobody's talking.
Wait a minute. Defamation of character, right?
That's not defamation of character, but being hostile like that and saying anti-Semitic stuff on his platform could land him on a black identity extremist watch list, though.
Hey, bro,
and they can have Native Americans revoke his ID card if you're talking like that.
Hey, bro, don't he sound like Dane Holloway talking about he gonna send somebody an email or some shit? Bro, that's not relevant. Like, he did not say any anti-Semitic. He is speaking a fact about military force.
We know that those people have done that shit, but again, you have to calm down with your language like that, because
the fact that you're assuming that he's calling people to arms is crazy. Don't get too scary. That's why people only trying to get IDs. Because listen, let me tell you something. I'm not against nobody. Okay, I'm not against nobody. Matter of fact, I have a perspective that everybody is a piece of the Most High, and collectively we all connected to the same type shit. Yeah, I would say this. Again, military, education, politics, finance, all of these are parts of community development, man. It's simple. It's part of managing and protecting your family, man. Now, the fact that we are scared of engaging in some of these business entities like military.
This is not being scary or anything. You can literally take these people to court with gathered information to prove that they owe you something.
That's a claim. That's a financial claim. Nobody's saying get no guns and go kill nobody. Nobody's ever saying that. He didn't say that. He's saying that military occupation in a history of wars has been laid down on this land that got us in this current situation, and that's everybody in this situation, from the victors to the losers. So he's just saying that military conquest has an effect on societies. That's a fucking fact. Now, secondly, it's such a fact that you're scared of my TV getting shut down just from bringing up something that might.
I'm not scared of him getting shut down anywhere.
Bro,
but this is the reality we are facing. You have to quiet your or censor or what's the word?
So you're trying to censor
filter your language like that, bro.
So you are literally you're acting like you getting paid from a government agency, not
acting like a paid from a government agent. I'm not getting paid from nobody, bro.
Because I guarantee Mike TV would say, "Hey, bro, we don't use those words or terms, or else they're gonna shut me down."
You're using Moorish lingo here, and he just questioned you. Hold on, he just questioned you about taxes. And you said that you do not pay taxes.
There's a lot of people in the United States of America that don't pay taxes. Native American, if you got your tribe set up, you shouldn't be paying no motherfucking taxes. It shouldn't be amazing.
And yet, he has tribal benefits.
Mike, because if you're in Muscogee, Territory, and you paying taxes, what the fuck is going on around here?
I mean, man.
What type of shit is this?
So I just had a question real quick, Kevin. So are you saying that like Mike TV, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. So or not just Mike TV, but specifically like any card carrying tribal member, right? That receive benefits. How like this is what I'm trying to ask you. Okay, how would they go about not paying taxes if they're getting benefits? I just wanted to ask you that.
Let's explain. So a benefit, anytime you're receiving something that's a credit on your accounting system, it's all about accounting. Mm-hmm. It's a credit to you. That's why you're getting something. You deserve something, first off. That's why you're getting it. Now, to pay taxes, you have to be qualified. First off, it's voluntary. Look at the IRS. It says it's a voluntary payment. I don't want to get too deep into that. Now, the second part about it, and that's what the IRS say, not me. Now, the second part about paying taxes, it's about how you go about accomplishing getting your money and currency. Okay? So let me explain. If you are, because it's about who's getting taxed as well and what's your status. So if you are a United States citizen, that's a certain tax status. If you literally are a sole corporation, as a tax status. If you are unincorporated association, as a status, right? So basically, you could be receiving your money to an entity that is not taxed. It's not taxed. So you can Google, like, it's not like tax evasion. See, tax evasion is when you're doing something to intentionally not get taxed. But
tax avoidance.
Yeah, tax avoidance is that. But when you're literally just naturally somebody who is handling business in a way where taxes you don't incur them, then that's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so you have a tribal member who has a card. A way of them not paying taxes is them getting.
They shouldn't be getting taxed. Period. Tribal members. First of all, if you talk about tribal members that get taxed, the only time a tribal member should be getting taxed is if they operating outside of their capacity. Because think what you're trying to say. Taxes mean somebody has the right to tell you got to pay them. Well, they only got that right if you're what? Doing business with them in a position that's subservient to them.
You know what's crazy?
Well, if you're buying things, hold on, wait. For example,
tax tribute to Caesar, bro. That's what it means.
So, what about individuals that are buying like food or clothing or miscellaneous items from the store? Do they get taxed there? Or do you pull out your ID card and say, "Hey, I'm a tribal citizen, so you don't have to tax me on." Like paying $4 for a damn cheeseburger or some shit.
It's very simple. Everybody who goes to work, they get to check that exemption box and not get that federal taxes taken out. That's what I just want to say about that. Secondly,
it's about the
companies that get
what's
taxed.
that? Your paycheck? You gonna get money taken out of your paycheck, or is it if you go to the store and buy something, they don't charge you off of what you want to buy, like food or clothing or whatever miscellaneous shit you want to buy?
Yeah, see, it's about accounting, brother. So that system may in fact charge me a tax. Yet when it's tax time, because I'm a tax exempt agency, or I'm a tax exempt being in IRS system, when I file my taxes, those things will be coming back in the form of credits. It's called accounting.
Wow. Oh, but I hear what you're saying. I just wanted to ask you, like, okay, is another way of doing that just like receiving the benefits? Like let's say you're making, you have like $2,000 a month by the tribe, basically. Is that like another way? Because technically speaking, that would be untaxable, right?
See, taxing ain't even the reason I'm talking. I don't care too much because I got companies that get taxed. It ain't about not giving people what they deserve. See, because if the government has set up systems that it manages and I'm doing business with it through another corporation that's domestic to it, then it's going to pay some taxes. That's when taxes are supposed to happen, right? You know, it's about, like my man said, some niggas just ain't handling commerce, so they don't understand those types of strategies and they try to mix everything up.
Well, taxes is they hold your money for a whole entire year and give it back to you, though.
Taxes a duty, bro. Like it ain't even about taxes, bro. Like I'm not against the IRS. I'm not against the Department of Treasury. I'm not against anybody's perspective who's not with in alignment with mine. But I know one thing, and second thing for fucking show. The one thing is I understand the law. Second is I understand we got the right and ability to exercise our rights and enforce our rights however we deem necessary for ourselves. So I go about living me according to the Most High's divine order within me. And now you can do the same. So I'm not against you for utilizing the elements and your analyzation skills to do what you do.
So do you think that you could drive in a car without an ID or a license?
I don't think nothing. You definitely the police, but I know for a fact that you can't drive.
I'm not a police. I'm just asking because he gets a lot of Moors and Hebrew Israelites on the panel.
First off, we talking about, you gotta know the stuff you talking about, bro. It don't look, you're talking about driving, which is a commerce term. So if you handling
traveling,
I thought this was about tribal ID. See, you mixing so much shit up, you're gonna be confused.
But tribal ID, yeah, they got their own way of doing things straight out of like the Freemasons and the same things that Black Americans are trying to get, but Black Americans, when they attempt to do it, that claim to be a Moor or something like that and bring out the Black's Law Dictionary,
you know what?
That's not obviously helping because it's somewhat like the white sovereign citizens in a way because they get him Tyron Leung.
Tyron Leung, let me explain, brother. You're having a hard time trying to put me in a box, and it's not going to work. See, you're trying to associate me with things, but if you just take the facts for what they are, if you notice, I was showing you third-party pieces of evidence about things, and all I'm here to say is that when you're on a conversation about nations, you would start to consider things that's in the law of nations, and you also would start to consider international laws, and you also would start to consider those types of topics. And when you start to consider those types of topics, then maybe you do qualify for like a conversation. It's okay.
Real quick. I got an appointment I got to get to. We got to wrap up the conversation. So let's start by providing closing remarks. Who wants to go first?
I could go first if that's, or anybody could go first, but it's just.
Well, let's just go in order by appearance on the screen. Tyrone, give us some closing remarks.
All right. Well, well, I'm the Aboriginal anti-hero, so I'm about to have this debate with YK, the truth on the 10th this coming week. Yeah, this week. So be prepared for that. It's going to be a screamer. It's going to be about DNA. So I land my plane right there and catch you later.
That's what's up, bro. Hey, send me a link or somehow drop a link so I can.
It's on Aboriginal Powers channel.
I'm gonna check it out. This is my first, honestly, I fucked around and was in YouTube world and saw my man promoting the genealogy. I appreciate y'all whole platform, man. Y'all definitely cool.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure. Well, Tyrone, we'll see you later. Thanks for calling in.
All right, peace.
And next, let's go with Chief. Lay it on us. Closing remarks. No Diddy. Oh, Chief might be asleep at the wheel. Chief going once. Chief going twice. All right, Chief. Thanks for calling in. We'll see you next time, good brother. Arkel, closing remarks.
Sure. Just wanted to say appreciate y'all for allowing me to speak. And another thing is that I believe that a lot of us should learn who we are. It gives us power. It gives us strength. I believe we should, acquire more land. I believe we should, set up more tribes to be more federally recognized, so all of us can have benefits, so all of us can, remember who we are down the line and never lose ourselves. And also, I believe that for whoever carries a card or whoever's not federally recognized, whatever you guys are doing, whatever you're trying to do, keep that shit hidden from tethers. Keep that shit hidden from any other person around your circle that either is not an FBA or just is not rocking with your mission at all. And make sure you move in silence sometimes, because that's the best way to move. And that's all I wanted to say, man. I appreciate y'all for allowing me to be on the panel.
Yep. Well, thanks for calling in, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
And then there was two. Yeah, Kevin, this is the whole reason why I wanted us to have this live discussion.
You have to avoid taxes, Mr. Abiaki.
Who was that?
But it's a lot of good comments, man. But anyway, I'm listening to you, bro.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying this was the whole reason why I wanted to have this live discussion, because as you can see, there's people who believe your train of thought and even reinforce it with their own stats and statistics. And then there's those of us that may be a little confused, but you've been able to enlighten us and everything in between. So, I think civil discourse is paramount. And, I wouldn't necessarily say that you're like a more sovereign citizen, but a lot of your rhetoric does overlap. And I must say that you are the most, level-headed and the best orator out of the bunch, because we've had a lot of people with similar ideologies call in, and they haven't really been able to express their thoughts fully. So, many kudos for you to be able to do that.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I would say I appreciate all of y'all, even though it may seem like my fight is not y'all fight. My grandmother's Blackfeet, that's what she stated. For me doing my research, I seen that Billy Caldwell was Potawatomi, part of the Grand Council of the Three Fires. So I identify as well. I just take information for what it is and knowledge and law for what it is. And I see that in this day and time with the, the right of self-determination, we have the right to identify ourselves how we see best right now. And while history is important, we understand there's this things called the future, and it really happens now. So I agree, and I listen to everybody because they're coming from a perspective. Yet sometimes it may seem like I'm disagreeing because I'm really focused on, okay, since all of that is a reality, what is this new reality that we're here to set for the future? So I just appreciate everybody. Kiel Mansa, KIELMANSA. Doing some things in my pursuit of manifesting the greatest aspects of me, setting up Love Nation. If y'all want to tap in, it's nowhere close to being done, man, but we're working every day. That's Love Nation, AmericanIndians.org. We're going to be doing, Love is the Nation, at Love is the Nation YouTube. We have no videos up yet. That's where we at. I'm right where you at, listening to brothers like Mike TV, listening to other brothers who I agree and just don't agree with everything. I've never found a person I agree with everything. So I'm okay with not being agreed to with everything, because we are unique for a reason, So I just appreciate the moment for brothers speaking their truths, and just keep doing it. You never know where it could take you, but I'm pretty sure you have an idea.
For sure. And there are some other members of the Blackfoot tribe in the building. They want you to know that it's Blackfoot, not Blackfeet.
Okay, Blackfoot. I'm with it.
They're getting at you. They're trying to get at you. Leave him alone, okay? He been up here for 3 hours, damn near. Come on.
Life is good, Bridget, tap in. Let's tap in. Whatever it takes to keep the conversation going. I appreciate this too, because this is probably like the first YouTube this make me have to do this more, bro. I've been wanting to have these conversations, so I appreciate you. Literally.
Yep. Well, hey, you've got the gift of discussion, so go ahead and do it. It's not expensive starting a YouTube channel. You just need a computer, webcam, get it popping. But all right, brother, I'll be in touch and make sure to reach out to me if you need any more help on your genealogy journey.
Appreciate it 1,000,000%, man. This was a nice, healthy debate, fellas. I want to commend everybody for their perspectives and their ability to stay in the ring.
Yep, we kept it civil, even though it got contentious. And yeah, shout out to everybody that clicked the link and joined in. Talk to you later, Kevin.
Peace.
All right, peace. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's all I have for you today. Shout out to everybody that hit the like button, that shared the video, that hit the Cash App. Shout out to everybody that's recently booked me for genealogy consultations. Stay vigilant, and I will see you guys sooner than later.